Howdy ho, jabronios. Now I need you to grab yourself a nice warm cup of tea, a big old bag of chips, and a comfy couch because we got a hefty episode today, all right?
Yeah,
we got
do.
a lot going today. We are Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast with three blokes, three buddies, three bombing bruvs talking about nerd shit. Now this week, we're going to talk about the news, like the Emmy nominations, big stuff there. Then we're going to chat, of course, about Marvel's Love and Thunder. And then to wrap it all up, we're going to talk about what we're into. Could be movies, could be TV, could be music. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Listen, it's me, Luis Gonzalez, and of course...
Miguel Sanchez.
And Ed Bull.
Yes, Ed Ball is back. Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe it? Clap, 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 clap. I cannot believe it. Ed, it is so good to have you back on the podcast. Now...
Thank you.
I know you had some problems with your back, right?
Yeah, like last Wednesday, I could not move.
What happened? Like, what exactly happened with your back?
Oh no, I just did something foolish, and on what was it, the 4th of July? I guess Sarah's looking at me.
Well, Ed, we have requests from our fans. They want to know the full story.
Hey, I get the same message that you guys get. I didn't see any requests.
No, this was a special one.
So basically, we were having a family day at home, and we were sword fighting with Lily.
Uh-huh.
And it was at a moment where Lily and I were redoing a little stunt from Hook.
Okay.
Where Peter Pan throws a pirate over his shoulders and he starts spinning him around him.
Oh, no.
And the swords... Oh, we haven't got there yet. And he's like hitting the swords with all the pirates coming at him. I did that with Lily, easy peasy. And, you know, in the heat of the moment, I tried to do it for Sarah too. And my back... could not do it, but I want to say that I did get her over my shoulders, and we had a 180-degree spin before I was just like, no. And like for the rest of the day, it was bad. And then like Wednesday, I like walked into work, and then suddenly like and couldn't breathe, couldn't get comfortable. So it would not have been good for me to be like sitting here talking to you guys. So. That's it. That was my epic tale.
Oh my God, what a way to go. Hey, at least you got the 180 with her. You know what I mean? You got the spin, you got the 180, it worked. I mean, this is like your movie. You have literally a tattoo of Hook.
We got carried away.
Yeah.
We got carried away, you know? And, memories, right?
Good job, Ed.
I did my back like I did my right eardrum, and gave it the movie treatment, the Ed reenactment treatment. So,
well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you back to normal now, though? You good?
Yeah, no, I feel much better this week. It took a couple of days after, but kind of eased back, yeah.
Well, you know, we are so happy to have you back.
Cheers to old age.
To old age, cheers. We are so happy to have you back, Ed. We have the full crew here, the full cast, all three nerds. No, spoiler alert, again, I will not be here next week. I will be at Comic-Con. We'll try to get you guys some exclusive updates as I'm there on the floor. We'll see. I don't know. So we're going to have Miguel and Ed running the podcast, running the show. I'm super excited to listen to a new Punch Drunk Nerd. I just want to sit back as a viewer and just hear your dulcet tones just go through my ear canals and, you know, enjoy some nerd news.
Miguel, I hope you've watched The Bear by then, and then we could really just
that's not fair. That's not fair. Then you guys are gonna have. What if you hate it, and then I'm just gonna have a little hate fest?
We'll have a party.
Yeah, no, I'm over here. No one to defend the bear. God, this episode is not brought to you by the bear. Okay, we just talk about the bear all the time. But this episode is brought to you by Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast you're listening to right now. We desperately need your likes and subscribes. Please hit us, do all the things. We need to get into the algorithm wave. If you love us, if you like what we're doing, for the love of God, for the love of Jeebus, hit the 5 stars, give us a comment, let the world know we're here to stay. Now, we're going to jump right into the news. Big stuff. It's the 74th Emmy Award nominations. I think I'm going to hit some of the big winners here, and then we can talk about it.
Nominations.
Nominations. Thank you. But you know what? I think if you're nominated, you've already won. It's such like a big honor to already be nominated for something. Succession. I've never seen the show. 25 nominations for this show. Mamma mia. Ted Lasso and The White Lotus, 20 nominations. Only Murders in the Building, 17 nominations. Unfortunately, Selena Gomez got snubbed in the supporting actress role. Hacks, Barry, Euphoria, and got more than a dozen nominations. Severance, Apple TV Plus's show, 14 nominations. Stranger Things with 13 nominations. However, no acting categories. Abbott Elementary, Miguel, 7 nominations. And then HBO earned 108 nominations. 140 if you count HBO Max, beating Netflix's 105 nominations. And now we're not going to forget, of course, of our boys Marvel. You know, we're big fans of Marvel. Disney Plus got 19 nominations with Moon Knight, Loki, What If, and Hawkeye. But last year, WandaVision had 23 nominations just on WandaVision. She was carrying the load. Here you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, getting, a little bit under what WandaVision did.
And no acting nods, right?
I don't know. I don't think any acting nods, but just a lot of creative stuff. It takes more than actors to make movies and TVs. So I'm glad that
WandaVision did. She got lead actress, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Well, God, she's so good. She's such a great performer. But yeah, I mean, what do you? I mean, I can go into the actual bigger categories at all, but what do you guys think about that, Ed? You're the one who put this story up. Any immediate thoughts?
Well, I mean, how could we ignore it? We watch so much TV,
exactly,
guys. Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of similar shows that I've caught up on in the last year. So, like, I'm on the Ted Lasso train now. Like, I'm here for it. Miguel is on Succession. And I can't remember, Luis, you watched Only Murders in the Building, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm watching it right now. It's a great show. I'm so happy that it's getting all the nominations.
You're in season 2?
Season 2, and I think it got renewed for season 3 already. It's just like...
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't started season 2 yet. We were actually going to wait until it was all out. But, yeah, I mean, that's a good show. Euphoria, hey. I've heard good things about Severance, but I haven't watched it.
Same. Hearing that it got so many nominations is actually making me want to watch it. Not only Severance, but Succession. I know you guys keep talking about it, but this is a big punch to my face saying you need to watch Succession. One Succession season 4?
Wait, what?
What season?
Are you asking?
I'm asking.
3. It was the third one we just had.
So once season 4 comes out, then I will binge 1 through 3. So then I can come out ready to roll.
Leading up to it.
Yeah, I don't want to wait months for another Succession. I want to roll right into it.
No, that's a good idea. At this point, I just want to point out that they had 6 nominations in the... 5 nominations in the supporting actors category, like in supporting actor and actress, and then 6 if you count Brian Cox and the leading actor. So, like, 6 nominations in acting categories. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
It's really awesome. Wow, okay. Well, shit, I gotta watch this show. Listen, I want to talk about the top drama and comedy again. I want to run down this list because I think it's interesting. Better Call Saul. So these are outstanding drama series. Better Call Saul, Euphoria, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, Stranger Things, Succession, and Yellow Jackets. I haven't even heard of Yellow Jackets. I don't even know what that is.
I have. I've heard good things about it. Christina Ricci is in it. I don't know much about it.
Okay.
Other than general reception was good.
Well, any Yellow Jacket fans, hit us up. Let us know. Do you like Yellow Jackets? Listen, I'm trying to find the Wikipedia. It tells the narrative of a team of wildly talented high school girl soccer players who survive a plane crash. Whoa. Plot twist. Deep in the Ontario wilderness. The series chronicles their descent from a complicated but thriving team to warring cannibalistic clans. Wow, this really has a turn. So I guess it's a good show. Check it out. Outstanding comedy series, Abbott Elementary, Barry, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, and What We Do in the Shadows. This is all really great. I love these because they just, let me know some shows that I need to tune into. I've heard a lot of these. I guess Severance I want to check out now. Succession, of course. people always talk about Ozark, but I don't know if I'm gonna go. It's just there's so many
Down that
seasons
train.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys keep up with What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
That the new season just started today.
So
Or
I
yesterday,
love the movie.
so-
I love the movie.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and I'm gonna get crucified for this, I just can't get into
'Cause you're
the
a
show for
vampire.
some reason. And I love
Yeah.
one of those actors too. He's in the IT crowd and other stuff.
The main with the long hair.
He talks like this all the time.
Oh yes, yeah. I don't know his name.
My God, you know what I mean? His
Yeah.
name is Matt Berry. Matt Berry.
Yeah,
Bats.
Matt Berry.
Yeah.
Bats.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm in the wrong state of mind. I don't know if I'm watching at the wrong time. But and you know what? Even now, after watching this show a couple times, I'm still willing to give it a chance. And I know so many people love it, and I feel like I'm just missing out, and I hate it. But I know it's a good show, like just objectively. So, Miguel, any thoughts about these Emmys?
Just kind of like Luis, there's a couple of shows that I feel like I'm waiting on. Stranger Things is one for me. Like if the new season's going to come out and be the last one next year or whatever, I'm kind of just waiting on Stranger Things, the finale. Ozark, we're kind of the same way in our house. Like we didn't want to watch Ozark all this time, but now that it's out, we're kind of thinking about it. So
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, Abbott Elementary. I love that show. I'm super glad that they got so many nominations.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that show.
Dude, you would love that show. It's so good.
What is it even on?
I think it's
ABC.
NBC.
Oh, yeah.
ABC. No, you're right. It's ABC. Oh, now I don't know.
Here, I'll look it up. I'll look it up while you talk to him about it. ABC.
It's only in their first season right now. They just ended, and it's like a school, like an inner city school, public school, and how like the teachers and the admin and the students all kind of interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, and it's hilarious. We have a great time watching it. I mean, I'm excited about the next season, so you should definitely get into it.
All right.
Yeah,
we're always up for a new comedy. Yeah,
Sarah,
dude, it's super quick. It's in, it's out. It's so good.
I've seen Sarah watch a little bit of it, and while I'm working from home, I just peek over, and it seems like some really funny stuff as far as like workplace comedy. I know they have NBC has that new show, American Auto, but I haven't heard much about it. But it seems like this is like the next funny workplace comedy thing to watch out.
Okay.
Yeah.
One snub that stood out to me, I saw that Sarah Paulson got nominated for impeachment, but Clive Owen didn't get nominated for playing Bill Clinton. I thought that was like a missed opportunity, only because I saw Sarah Paulson. She's great in that show.
Yeah.
But I thought like over the course of the season, Clive Owen was really good. I thought he really nailed Bill Clinton.
Dude,
it's really fun way.
It's really tough because like the Emmys are in the same way that, well, maybe not so much as the Grammys, but there's so much television that it's so difficult to, have
narrow
them all.
Down.
Yeah, narrow it down. And it's like Succession's getting 25 nominations. I mean, that's great. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of noms for one show. And to me, I'm feeling like, let's spread the love.
Money.
Let's spread the love. Yeah,
money,
it's
baby.
a money thing. Like, it's the studios pitching it, and they're doing that. Yeah, I guess so. There's just so much TV out there. It's like so hard to keep track of it all.
Oh yeah, we do our best.
We do our best. We get overwhelmed with television. We try to do what we can. Another group of people who are feeling terribly overwhelmed with work is the VFX artists at Marvel. I mean,
that's right.
There has been a thread on Reddit coming out now where the VFX artists are just done with Marvel. I'm going to read some quotes, and they're not great. Okay. I'm quite frankly sick and tired of working on Marvel shows. Marvel has probably the worst methodology of production and VFX management out there. They can never fix the look for the show before more than half the allocated time for the show is over. The artists working on Marvel shows are definitely not paid equivalent to the amount of work they put in. On Thor, they asked for a complete mini sequence 2 or 3 weeks before deadline. They expect a smorgasbord of options so they can change their mind 3 more times. Continuing, black hole of sleep deprivation and eating bad. Another quote, Marvel had seen grown men punching walls and throw monitors from stress. I broke down a couple times and I've seen the strain it can put on marriages. But hey, the money was fantastic. Fuck Marvel as a client. The credit name is not fucking worth it. I mean, these go on and on of just about stress and how long it took for people to recover. 6 months to recover from WandaVision. Welcome to the 7th level of hell. I mean, it makes sense where, you know, I'm going to talk about these phases here real quick. I saw this pop up as well. Phase 1 had 12.4 hours. Phase 2 had 12.7 hours. Phase 3 had 24.9 hours. We're in phase 4. With 6 films and 7 shows, we are at 49.5 hours. Marvel has officially crossed over the 100 hours, mark. Just let alone with all their expansion into Disney Plus, they're 49.5 hours. And they are pumping out content more than ever before. Even as a viewer, we're getting overwhelmed. I can't even imagine as a VFX person who is forced to meet these deadlines. And from my understanding of Marvel, too, is that on the production side, and like we're going to talk about Thor Love and Thunder with Taika, they're always like, okay, great, let's make changes, let's adjust. I feel like now that we did this on set, ooh, I just discovered something, let's make a change, and they're always like willing to roll with the punches and make the better call. But it seems like this is deeply affecting the people at the VFX artists, and that kind of sucks. And and I was kind of questioning it too, with so much content being out there about like how in the world are they able to pump this stuff? I mean, I remember Black Panther. There was that last fighting sequence. Man. Like it was rough. It was because they only had like a couple weeks to get it done. It was the same situation, and it's like, what do you expect us to do? And we are dying just to get these VFX films out. And also, like, I remember watching Hawkeye. There was this whole goo effect when they were throwing the bow and arrow, and it had this like purple or some sort of like gooey effect coming out. And I saw it and I was like, damn, that's not great. But I imagine, again, these VFX artists don't have enough time to really build this out. Anyway, I thought this was super interesting to reveal the struggle of going on, especially with all of the content we're getting. What are you guys thinking about all this stuff?
It's, unfortunately, it's not new. I think previously the biggest thing I'd heard about some of the things is in the video game industry and how the crunch in video games are pretty severe as well. Like studios really cracking down on teams to get these games out. And then you get these games that come out for $60, $70. And it's like, you could definitely see improvements, but clearly it's because people like this are clearly overworked.
The deadline always exceeds the the practicality of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's with like Miguel said, I feel like it's sadly a pretty common thing. And obviously Marvel churning out as much as they are. But it's also disappointing because you like to think that of all places, such like a well-established environment would, have worked its way around that. But it also shows it's all like the CGI and effects are always a touch point for debate. Most recently, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, people were dogging on that. And granted, when that released, we were still a couple of months before its release, but from this, there's no reason to think that, everything's solved. And I mean, I just wrapped up Miss Marvel, and we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
And obviously we just saw Thor. But yeah, I mean, when that's your biggest drive, like that's what brings these movies together, you rely on CGI so much, like that needs to be, you would assume that would be like a top priority as far as just like getting it done in the right way,
like taking care of talent, making sure they're okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like taking care of its teams, knowing going into a project it's going to be CGI heavy, like automatically you sign up for a Marvel film. Okay, they rely a lot on that, and granted, technology is always evolving, but that's a lot of shit they're throwing at these movies, like even the TV shows. So, yeah, I mean, I feel for those people, and I hope that Marvel tries to remedy it.
Yeah,
going forward.
I agree. I mean, I think it's really unfortunate that, like, it really makes me sad when I hear that they have 2 or 3 weeks deadline to make it something done, and they have expectations of, like, it needs to be amazing, and I don't know, that just hurts me. Like, as somebody who works, like, doing production stuff as well, when you are pushed to a
All the
deadline,
time. Yeah.
you're like, hey, this needs to be turned in 3 days. Like, it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, it just can't be good. And the fact that you're not giving enough recognition. I was talking to, I'm working on this production right now where we're covering how they build a monster at an FX house. And they were mentioning how in Gremlins, they had 2 years to develop the actual gremlin, Muppet, you know what I mean, creature. And now it's like people are given 3 months or, like, you know, a short amount of time, especially when they were doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They were given like less than a week to create some of those practical effects. And it's just like this quick turnaround is going to affect it when these people are the hardworking people who are making all that magic on screen. So I don't know.
Without
I remember when
it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I remember when we
Like-
had 2 or 3 movies a year, 2 movies a year, 3 movies a year, and I was like, this is fine, you know. And
Yeah.
if we need to, of course, I love Marvel content, but I want people to be taken care of as well. You know what I mean? I don't want
Yeah.
people to fucking die over it. Like, we can take a break. We can spread it out a little bit.
It's not as if they're not making the money.
Yeah.
And people will always flock to these movies. If we went down to 2 to, I mean, max 3. I mean, 3. Just saying that, the fact
Yeah.
that we've just grown so used to 3 Marvel movies a year, 3 big event movies from the same studio regarding the same, at least universe, but on occasion the same characters. We had 2 Doctor Strange movies this year, technically.
Right.
With Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
And like Miss Marvel's about to end, and literally in like about a month, She-Hulk's coming out. You know, it's like I could have a little bit of, like, you know, wanting to have some anticipation.
And Wakanda Forever after that.
I forgot about that.
Walking into Thor the other day, I was like greeted with this big Black Panther poster.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, I completely forgot that that's coming out. Not only is it coming out, it's coming out like soon, relatively soon. Like just a few months away. And I'm excited for it, but I was sitting there going like, damn, when are we going to get a trailer? Like, I want to see this
It's
now.
touchy. It's touchy. It's, they, like Wakanda Forever, of all things, I feel like they have to tread carefully around.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the big one for me. I'm excited about that one.
I'm excited too. I mean, cautiously, you know, if anything, I'm just like, you know, I want them to succeed in this massive hurdle that they're going to have to overcome. And I'm not just, it's, and I hope the visual effects are great too, you know.
Well, you know, there's a director that's helming a new movie, and I hope he can lead his team correctly. It's Julius Ona. He's the new director for Captain America 4. You know, if you saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they teased Captain America will return. And he's been pegged. Is that appropriate? HR department. He's been asked? He's been hired. He's been pinned to direct Captain America 4. So yeah, this guy, you know, he directed the Cloverfield Paradox, and he's done a lot of shorts. This situation where I feel like, I don't know, Marvel does this thing where they hire these like small time directors, but I don't know. It's like they get small.
Did you guys see that?
No.
Did y'all see that Cloverfield movie?
No.
Cloverfield Paradox. I saw it.
No.
Oh, listen,
You loved it.
I don't get me wrong. I love sitting through like a B tier or lower movie. You know what I mean? And I like the Cloverfield movies for what they are. So I was kind of excited about that one. But yeah, it's definitely a tough one, very disjointed. And when they go, oh, Captain America 4 picked their director, and it's the guy from Cloverfield Paradox, a movie that came out like, I don't know, 4+ years ago, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't evoke any confidence, you know what I mean, in the project.
It feels like an ensemble will be helping him instead of it being like, I don't know.
Well, it's Marvel,
like
isn't
a
it?
Sam Raimi direct. Like when Sam Raimi was doing Doctor Strange, you could really feel him. You know what I mean? And this feels like we're going to support you and help you out. Like, don't worry about the action scenes. We have that plotted out. Don't worry about the VFX. We had that plotted out for you.
Yeah,
don't worry really about the plot. We kind of had that plotted out for you. You just kind of make sure things are going okay.
Point the camera.
You just come in.
You make sure the tone's okay. But you know what? Hey, I'm excited.
Also maybe he's gonna. Yeah, maybe he's gonna come in and make an absolute banger of a movie. He's a character that I'm not super excited about. But I wasn't excited about Captain America, the first movie he came out with.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then look at me now. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. So let's go.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Let's see Sam Wilson.
I'm willing to see Sam Wilson. I love a new take. I love seeing a little spin on things. So we'll see how that goes. We're hoping desperately to see a trailer for Wakanda Forever and of course Captain America 4 when it comes out. But let's not think about those trailers. Let's think about trailers that just dropped, like The Woman King. Ed, well, actually, this dropped a bit ago, but we didn't want to talk about it without you, Ed.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Have you guys watched this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I did notice that you didn't talk about it last week. So I was.
Me and Miguel were like, "Do you want to talk about this?" I noticed you put it back.
I was definitely put it back because I'm that petty. Yeah. No, this was a movie. This was definitely a movie I was very excited to see, and like when that trailer finally dropped, I think it was last Wednesday, and of course I was like stiff as a brick, and it, like, I really wanted to talk about it, and I was of course curious about you guys' opinions on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for this. It's like a true historical epic by all accounts. I mean, the trailer looked kind of epic. It's got a great cast with Viola Davis, Lashana Lynch, John Boyega, Jamie Lawson, and yeah, I mean, it just kind of looks badass. I don't know you guys.
When I was watching the trailer, as the story was unfolding, I wasn't sure if it was, and they later are like, yeah, this is based on a real story or whatever. I thought initially they were doing like one of those like alternate history type storylines. And I was like, let's fucking go. I'm definitely down to see this movie. I want to see what they're going to do. Like, that'll be like different historically. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, it's a great cast and they all look like they're absolutely killing it. So, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, it got me hyped.
And the fact that it's a true story.
Yeah.
Sorry. The true story element just kind of makes it more, you're like, oh, okay. Like, I want to look into this shit. But yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool. It looks like it's really well done, super well performed, true story. I'm here for it. I want to see, I want to be pulled in to this thing.
That comes out September 16th for listeners.
Okay, cool. That'll be nice. Get your AMC A-list and watch The Woman King. Dolby Atmos. So, another quick trailer that came out, Harley Quinn, season 3, the trailer dropped. We talked about Harley Quinn already. I just want to let you people know if you haven't seen it, it is out. But coming soon, Miguel, I don't know.
Dude, I'm hyped. I'm excited for this.
There's this new game coming out July 19th called Stray. You play as a stray cat in a world full of robots and venture to return to his family, solve puzzles, obstacles, and traversing platforms. You got to watch the trailer for this because
you can't do it justice just by saying it.
No,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you have to see it. It's like this cyberpunk future, but you play as a cat, like a real cat.
Yeah.
And there's all these robots, and some of them you interact with and it's positive, some of them you interact with and it's scary. And dude, at the first, I think they showed a trailer for it either earlier this year or late last year, and I was like, sign me up, I'm ready to go. It looks so dope.
Yeah, I remember when the trailer came out, and at IGN, a lot of people were saying, this is the game to watch out. Or like a lot of people, maybe it wasn't big, but it was getting a lot of attention. We're like, whoa, looks like a fun game to play. I can't believe it's coming out so soon. I'm in the middle of playing God of War, and now I'm getting Stray coming up. I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to bounce between two games? Because I really want to play. Because this game, I want to be a cat. I have 3 cats. And so,
dude,
what is I want to be a cat.
You almost never get to play as like an animal, like a real life animal. You know what I mean? And the thing that you play. And I imagine there's not going to be much dialogue, which is also super fun because then you're going to sit in this really cool, like atmospheric game, and you're going to feel like you're actually there. Nah, dude, I'm ready to go. That might be a game I get Kristen to play. You know, we all love cats in this house, so we'll see how she does.
Someone was telling me like you got to play it on the PlayStation and that it has like those adaptive triggers on the remote. And I think someone was telling me or heard a conversation where like when you scratch.
Yes, dude, I bet.
Yeah, there's like the adaptive triggers for scratching something.
Dude, the first time I played Astro's Playhouse, they had like that PlayStation demo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the controller, and he like walks through sand and you're getting air blown on you all at once. And it's like the way the controller reacts to just this crunching of the sand and all the wind. Dude, games like this, I bet are going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait.
Ed, add it to the list.
Stray. I'm allergic to cats, man.
I bet you this is a game Ed would not play.
That's true. What about God of War?
My alley. Oh, fuck yeah, man. I am so excited, for anybody who gets to play it. I hope eventually one day I get to play it too. But I'm really excited for God of War Valhalla.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong heaven or whatever the fuck. Ragnarok. Yep.
It's really funny actually because it's like Assassin's Creed is like Valhalla, and then we have God of War Ragnarok, and it's just so many like
Ragnarok
stuff. So we got Stray coming out July 19th. So you'll have to wait a couple of days for that, but you won't have to wait for the Black Phone because it is currently out. This is a movie directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange, and then he split away from Marvel after their visions didn't align. So that's a cool horror movie that's doing really well. Bob's Burger movie, hey, that's out right now. You can check that out. And finally, Better Call Saul Season 6 Part 2 is now out. One episode is out with 5 more to go, and they are releasing on Monday. But let's take it back a step. What's up?
I just want to add real quick.
Yeah.
I wrote this by hand. So a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about The Gray Man because the trailer came out.
Yeah.
Luis, you and I talked about going to see it in theaters. Miguel, you said you wanted to watch it at home. For anybody who does want to watch it in theaters, it's coming out this Friday. It will be in select theaters because of its Netflix. For me, at least in the Houston area, it's only playing at Cinemarks, and it only has 2 showings a day, roughly. And it's going to be playing in theaters exclusively for a week until next Friday when it will come out on Netflix. But if you like the cinematic experience that the Russo brothers bring to the big screen, go see it.
Okay.
If not only for Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans going at it.
I don't want to get into a debate about it, so I won't even ask.
All right, good.
I'm looking up showtimes right now, and it's like, no AMC. I'm an AMC boy, and it's not even here. We got Cinemark. What's going on here? AMC?
Yeah, it's Cinemark exclusive, and that's a shame on Netflix. They alienated themselves so much from theaters that only a select few will only play it for like a fucking week.
Cinemark's
it was the same.
We're like the cheap.
It was the same
AMC.
thing with The Irishman.
Yeah.
And I think it affects that. They could be making money off this shit.
Quick side note, just because we're talking about it now, I watched The Irishman again this week.
Again?
Again. This is like the second time in about 2-3 weeks that I've watched it. And if we're talking about the cinematic experience, I loved it at home. I loved it so much at home because I can watch it so many times at home and get all of the information that I need at once, as opposed to sitting in the theater and going, what the fuck is happening?
Is that what you felt?
You know what? Because I was watching.
Sorry, did you hear that?
You taking a leak?
I was topping off my drink. Yes! I'm so sorry.
You got a little bottle down there?
That's
I've got my little cocktail.
Got
thing.
it. No, beautiful. No, I'm just teasing about the whole cinematic experience thing, Ed. I get it, so I won't bug you about it.
I'm excited to see it in theaters. I'm going to try and see it next Tuesday. And, it's one of those releases that a blink and you miss it kind of thing, And
I just assumed that there was only one Ryan Gosling movie coming to theater soon that you were going to see, Ed.
and that's Barbie. And you bet I'm going to watch that on the biggest fucking screen possible.
Barbie IMAX screen. Filmed on IMAX.
Ryan Gosling's abs in the IMAX.
Well, you're going to have to wait till July 21st, 2023 to watch Ryan Gosling's abs. But for movies you don't have to wait for, it's the summer box office season, baby. Ooh, hula hula time. Listen, we're going to go over the top standing movies that are happening right now. We have a movie wager bet that's going on. If you haven't listened to that podcast episode, go back and listen to us trying to guess which movie will be making the most money domestically in this summer season. But now we're going to review on the top ones here. Number 1, Top Gun Maverick at $597 million. Boy, Miguel's probably going to win close to that one because you had it at number 2. Dude, that's so good. You're going to get so many points. But then Jurassic World Dominion is at number 2, which Miguel, you had at number 1, which means you're going to get bonker points. Number 3, Minions, Rise of Gru, Thor, Love and Thunder. Oh, I'm not even seeing the numbers. I'm sorry. Jurassic World Dominion, $350 million. Number 3, Minions, Rise of Gru, $210 million. Thor, Love and Thunder, $143 million. Lightyear, $112 million. Had that as my number 1. What a big flop that was. Number 6, Elvis, $91 million. Black Phone, which is now out, $62 million. Bob's Burgers, the movie, also out, $31 million. And Marcel, The Shell with Shoes On, at $963,000.
There you go.
So you did a pretty good job, Marcel. And then
it might make $2 million.
It might.
It might.
No. Oh, I'm getting. Anyway, movies left to come. Here, watch out. Where the Crawdads Sing, July 15th, which is out now, I guess, when the podcast comes out. Paws of Fury, Legend of Hank, July 14th. Nope, July 21st. Super Pets, July 28th. Bullet Train, I'm excited to see that, August 5th. And Bodies, also August 5th. Ed, do you got anything to talk about? I know you brought this one up.
No, I just thought it would be good to check in with you guys.
Great. To wrap it all up, I'm
nervous. I don't think
gonna win. I have a good feeling, Miguel. That
Miguel,
you might win
I think
this.
you have the least to worry about, honestly.
I don't know. I normally don't do well in these, so if I do well,
you clearly nailed it with Top Gun.
Surely by accident. Oh yeah. Well,
because
not quite.
I think the only thing I've got close to accurate was Minions, and Jurassic World is underperforming as far as my expectations. So,
I think with Thor, Thor bumping up. Those were my top 3: was Jurassic World, Top Gun, and Thor. So I kind of think that's where it's going to land by the end, but we'll see.
Listen, I want the fans to know I went on Lightyear, not because I didn't like the movie, but because I had it as my number 1. Okay.
Yep.
And clearly it's at the number 5 now, and they can only get lower. So these aren't looking good for me for Lightyear, but that's okay. I will always continue to enjoy it. I love it, and I will see it on Disney Plus when it comes out.
There you go.
And finally, to wrap this up, unfortunately, someone has passed. Ed, I'm going to give this to you since you usually own this segment.
Take off your... Do you guys keep up with deaths? Take off your hat, Miguel. Moment of silence, please. No, so RIP to the legendary James Caan, who died at the age of 82. Most people will know him from the Godfather series. He played Sonny Corleone. Also, he was the dad in Elf. It's probably the most recognizable thing, I guess. But also, he did Thief. He was in the movie Misery. I grew up with him in the 90s in that Arnold Schwarzenegger film Eraser.
Wow.
Where he's the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he's great in that too. So, sad to see him go.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Cheers.
I was saying this in another. Oh, sorry. There you
go. R.I.P.
Oh no.
I was actually saying in another group chat that I followed him on Twitter, and he was getting up there in age, but he was still pretty active. He tweeted, I mean, not every day, but you remember when Barack Obama was president, and his Twitter bio would be like, run by my staff, but like tweets with BO or by Barack Obama. You know what I mean? That's how you knew James Caan tweeted, because he always tweeted the same thing at the very end. He would always say "end of tweet," and
that's pretty funny.
It doesn't matter if you when you post a link to your Instagram and it's like, oh, I posted a new photo. He would do that and be like, "end of tweet." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, good for you. All right, I'm keeping up. Relevant all the way to the last.
I had no idea that was even like a story about him. This whole like Twitter, the way you approach Twitter. What a nice little insight that you offered. I feel like I'm listening to Punch Drunk Nerd for the first time hearing you talk about this.
Just a little preview for next week, okay?
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hit the first section here. We did the news of the week. Now, as we promised, we said if you leave a review for us, we're going to read it out loud, okay? And we're going to do that right now. We got Raul's a nerd's dad BFF. I'm a busy working dad and husband, and Punch Drunk Nerd is a great substitute for both the IRL friends and nerd media blogs I don't have time for. So thank you, Raul, for reaching out and leaving us a nice, kind review on that. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much. What do you guys think?
Shout out.
Cheers.
Yeah, shout out. Listen, please, there's so much more room for you to leave reviews on there. We you could be number 4. Wow. What a place to be. You could be.
Please leave a review.
You could be top 5 right away. Just go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. That'd be nice. Now we are moving on to Thor: Love and Thunder. Do I have to give her a synopsis about this?
Yeah.
Ed, do you want to get the synopsis about this? I feel like you're more level-headed
after the
about
events.
this. Yeah.
After the events of Endgame, Thor is traveling around with the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's undergoing a midlife crisis again, and leaves the Guardians in pursuit of Gore, the God Butcher, who is going around killing gods for reasons you'll find out.
There you go.
That's that.
That's Thor. Oh,
and
yeah.
Jane Foster is back as the mighty Thor.
There
Back
you go.
at it.
A little warning,
that.
spoilers alert, definitely. We will be spoiling the shit out of this whole thing. So if you don't like this, go to the description. Maybe we'll tell you when to jump into the next section, what we're into. Okay, we've all watched Thor: Love and Thunder. We haven't actually talked about this at all in our text chain, and we've been very mysterious, been very coy with each other. We haven't said a goddamn thing. So, here we are. I don't know. I have a feeling I have an idea what you guys are going to think, but I really don't know. So who wants to go first on this? Rock, paper, scissors?
Not me.
You?
Not me.
Okay, well, I guess I'll
go first because I'm
good.
usually the angry, temperamental one.
There's we get a little a sneak peek on what's
No. Okay, so the trouble with this movie began. No.
The first thing he says.
My internal conflict.
Okay.
My internal conflict with this movie was that I enjoyed myself pretty much from beginning to end. I was pretty excited for this movie in general. I think we all were.
Yeah.
On the heels of Ragnarok. And as far as the Marvel movies go this year, I was definitely more excited for this one. And I enjoyed myself throughout this movie. I thought it was hilarious. They did some cool things. But overall, I did feel like it was a little disappointing in that it was not as smooth sailing as Ragnarok felt. And I'm going to make the obvious comparisons because I don't see how we can't to that movie. But I felt like where Ragnarok walked the fine line between comedy and drama, this one was purely putting jokes first before plot or anything. And I felt leading up to this movie, I was getting a little concerned that two of the main stars, Christian Bale and Natalie Portman, kept mentioning how much got left on the cutting room floor.
Yep.
And how much good shit was left on the cutting room floor. And I genuinely kind of felt that this movie was cut in a lot of places that needed more context, needed more dramatic emphasis. It needed to breathe a little more because, god damn it, yes, it's funny, but they pummel you with jokes
Yeah.
the whole way through. And when some of the characters that you're dealing with and some of the situations that you're dealing with just need just like a few minutes longer to sink in. But everything felt so rushed.
Yeah.
And it does have a good pace, but at the same time, you feel like, you know, one scene is supposed to mean something, but it
doesn't matter.
It's on cruise control the whole time, I feel like. And it's, like I said, I think it prioritizes humor ahead of anything else. So I'm going to pause there and let somebody else give their initial reactions, and we can get into it more before I go on a run.
I was being quiet in the group chat because I actually, like, full blast hated this movie.
Look at this boy coming up.
I had an awful time watching this movie. I have a lot of opinions, which I'll get to in a minute, but I was so worried. Like, I was just thinking about Ed being so heated about the bear, and I was like, this is the bear. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is my FX's the bear. I was just so worried that I was going to be the Debbie Downer in the group chat, and like everyone was going to have a go. Wait a second. I'm sorry. That wasn't in relation to Ed.
No, that's right.
I mean, me personally, I was worried about being a Debbie Downer, not a comment on anything else.
The real reason I wasn't here last week, ladies and gentlemen, was because I felt like a complete arsehole from the previous.
Oh, I thought you meant I threw my back out just bitching about the bear.
The fucking bear! The fucking bear! I was just jerking around.
Matty Matheson! No, I was just so worried that like you guys were going to end up really, really enjoying it, and I hope you guys did get fun out of it, of course. But for me, just personally, God, I walked out of that movie and I was like, just like blank all the way home. I was like, man, that was not good. I did not enjoy it. And I'll talk more about it.
Luis, let's hear your initial.
So my opinion, I think we're all kind of echoing the same thing, where I think really what's happening comes down to is that the humor undercuts all the emotional stuff. Mm-hmm. This movie runs on bits, like this bit hour. I think if this movie was on in the background as you're cleaning the house or on TNT or whatever, I think it's something that you would put on, you'd see it for a couple seconds, and you'd see it, and it'd be like, oh, this is a good show, just kind of watch, and then dip around, come back to, like, it is run on all cylinders that way, as you're saying. But it's really interesting because I felt the same way I felt after Dark Knight Rises, where, listen, I love comedy bits. I loved the freedom of a director doing whatever the fuck he wants, and I felt myself being torn because I was like, well, I love comedy bits, I love Taika, and I love freedom, but that I don't know how I feel about this movie because it was so filled with bits that there wasn't a lot of opportunity to have vulnerability and let those emotions like really give you that cathartic release, because you want to have that, and that pumps you up where it feels like we were hitting the same note over and over and over again. Not to say that I like absolutely hated this movie, you know what I mean? I probably won't go as far as to say I hate it. I still like, I had a great time, I enjoyed it, but I think it's just with Thor Ragnarok, I think there were moments when they did things that it was still not so slapsticky, where they played it kind of grounded, and they had a couple of like awkward, quirky stuff like that bleeded out. And instead this time they're like, okay, we did Thor Ragnarok. Instead of letting it bleed out subtly, we're just going to let out blatantly, open up the trench coat, full blown, seeing this is what we are, and slapstick comedy where we aren't even being subtle about it. And I like having bit variances of subtlety between the two, and they were being honest and open between Jane and Thor, and they were kind of like making these like slapsticky jokes with each other. And I was like, it's like,
we don't need
real.
that.
Let's be real for this 1 second. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think
just for a moment.
I think that's where I was having trouble with. I think there's some cool action sequences. I think there's some fun things that are happening. I think some of the bits are funny, but I think where I have trouble is just the consistency of the pace. And it is this thing where like I loved how short it was. We hit this movie under 2 hours. Like what a time to have a Marvel movie under 2 hours. And after
But at what
watching it,
cost?
it's like, well, exactly.
It could have been longer.
It could have been longer. There are bits where I would like, let me actually sit and
Draw out.
and let me feel it out a little bit more. You know what I mean? It almost felt like, yeah.
It could have benefited. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, give it like another 10 to 20 minutes to let those key moments breathe a little bit. And so I think the best example of this is that the whole movie, whilst he was chewing up scenery, it left me feeling like Christian Bale was wasted. And I feel like he, just like watching him in interviews,
you can tell he feels that way. Yes.
He's like not thrilled about it. And I'm trying my best to go into Marvel movies without these like fan-based predictions that like if that doesn't happen, I hate it. But what I did want from a character titled the God Butcher was actually some God butchering. And it's only ever talked about and never really seen apart from the opening sequence. But because of that, and because there's just so much humor in every fucking frame of this movie, it's just like you never feel the threat. And going into this movie, I felt confident that you heard that Peter Dinklage was going to be in it. You heard that Jeff Goldblum was going to be in it. And going into it, I was thinking, okay, these are were going to be victims of gore. And the whole reason that Zeus was going to be in there was to raise those stakes.
Yes.
And they present him as the oldest and greatest of gods.
I was waiting for
who's been around the original hero.
I was waiting for him to come in and wreak havoc. Like to be
and destroy Zeus and make an example of him. And to take
a very dark tone so you can get like a contrast of flavors. Like, you know what I mean? Like you need the contrast of flavors to like really appreciate the other one. Where Omnipotent City would have been the great opportunity for Gore, the God Butcher, to come in, wreak fucking havoc. And then at that point,
and I love that scene.
And at that point, he would have been like, what is this? Eternity? What's the eternity? And then he figures out the plan. Hey, I need to go to eternity and I can kill the gods that way. The first step is, hey, I'm going to kill gods. And then he gets Omnipotent City and it's like, oh my God, there's a better way to kill gods. I'm going to go to eternity. But that kind of like jumped the gun. And
but instead we got told that he was a God Butcher. And whenever he did turn up, I got excited. Only because like, okay, this is it. This is when we get to see him at his worst kind of thing. And they visually, I think they nailed the character, but the visuals promise so much more than what we actually got. And by which I mean, like, you know, when he's creeping out the shadows, and each time he does, it looks like a skull walking out. And like, I think that look was so good. And especially like in contrast to other villains like Hela and Thanos or whatever. He took his own kind of like unique imagery, like he was almost the god of death in that sense. But you never got a hint of that threat at all, or just what he was capable of. They literally just told us every time, oh well, he gets his power from his sword or whatever. Like they told us that, we didn't see it, and that was the most frustrating thing. And because of that, you felt like he was kind of inconsequential to the overall story when they were hyping him up to be like the greatest villain ever. And I wasn't clinging on to those words because directors hype up their own shit or whatever. But they also, I mean, I don't think anybody would ever get that impression. Christian Bale is a great actor, and he did his best with what he had, but there was clearly something more to this character that he saw originally, but we didn't.
Well, you know what?
In the end.
Look, if you're going to read a comic and you always feel like, oh my God, what is going on? There's an incredible comic that's based off Thor, God of Thunder, by Jason Aaron from 1 to 11, God of Thunder. This is the whole Gore Butcher arc. Definitely check it out. And what they did a really good job is they set up the purpose of gore and like the trials and, you know, the way he felt about gods. And in this movie, it went very quickly, where it was like, I have this problem. I hate gods. We're in it. And it would have been so nice to have a second where we were just like dealing with Gore's pain. You know, I would have loved to have more Christian Bale up top. I would have loved to have him more suffering up top, just to kind of really solidify what he's going through. I don't know. What do you guys think about? Do you guys feel the same thing about that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I really the only two parts that I really enjoyed about the whole movie was the beginning 10 or so minutes with Christian Bale.
Could have been more,
and then like a good chunk of the third act I enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, you understand quickly, okay, his daughter dies, and that's like a good justification. But you're absolutely right to sit with him just a little bit longer. I think I read a comment on Reddit somewhere where it's like the very next scene after the credits should have been him killing like a big god in that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To like get that kind of like taste of what he can do, and then go back to Thor for a little bit. I personally, as far as the Guardians of the Galaxy is concerned, as this movie, just kind of an unnecessary plot point. I mean, it had so much promise. I would have preferred if this movie had been just like Guardians and Thor in one movie, and that be it. You know what I mean? If they really wanted to push the Guardians angle.
It was overpacked. I feel like it was. This is the thing. A lot was packed into this movie, and it had such a short running time, and that's what makes it difficult. You know, you had, of course, he was with the Guardians of the Galaxy. You had to wrap it up somehow. Then you had on top of that Gore, and then on top of that you had Jane Foster as the mighty Thor. There's these three things that you kind of have to give space to, but you don't have time. There's no real estate in the 2 hours. You know what I mean? So you're kind of going bop. Through it, and I'm echoing exactly.
I think the biggest things that suffered, aside from Christian Bale, was I liked the setup for the Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
But the editing on that felt so just all over the place. Like, 1 minute he had all of them tied up, and then Stormbreaker comes, and they're all just like kind of walking around trying to find Gore again. And one thing I think I said when we saw the trailers was there was a moment in the trailer where I was afraid for Valkyrie, because you saw her fighting with Gore. This guy's supposed to be a god butcher. She's just a warrior of the gods.
Yeah.
And yet she gets injured in the fight. And, you know, there were a couple of gasps in the audience, but everything was happening so quickly on that planet, or whatever you want to call it, that, you know, you barely had a moment to take it in, and then the next minute they're retreating to Asgard, or New Asgard, only to, you know, 10 minutes later be back on the road fighting Gore again at Eternity. Like, again, just has no time to breathe, and like they've already shrugged off the whole Valkyrie injury thing. Oh yeah, I lost a kidney. It's like, all right. You really are just going gag for gag on this.
No real stakes.
I think the emphasis of Jane and her plight would have been so much more effective and so much more emotional other than them just basically telling us visually that, oh, we're supposed to feel emotion in this scene because she's got cancer and she's dying, and if she touched Mjolnir again, they set it up all in that 5 minutes or less, basically. To where, and then the climactic fight was just as choppy. And you guys can correct me on this. I'll gladly take it. There's a moment where like Jane gets hit when she comes in to join the fight, and there's a moment, I guess, she gets hit because there's a lot of action happening, and they cut back to her, and all of a sudden her helmet is torn up.
Oh,
do you guys remember that moment?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't even remember that being a thing. Like, there should have been more emphasis on that. Just so much shit was happening that I felt like Natalie Portman got screwed over. I felt like Christian Bale got screwed over in the overall picture. Like, and they were the two characters I was most looking forward to in this.
You know, I really do feel like this could have been, to me, it felt like it should have been a send-off to Chris Hemsworth Thor. And this could have easily been like a two-parter film where like the first film was either Jane or Gore, and the second film was vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that you end where you still end, but you've had all this room to develop both of these characters.
Yeah.
And in the way that they sent Thor off,
Yeah.
you could still do. You could still not kill him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he could go off and live his own life, but then you would feel a little bit more for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or you get like an introduction to Gore at the end of the Jane Foster one, to where they actually come together in the second one.
Yeah.
Like, you get to see a bit more of Gore's destruction. Because I felt like we were going to see like a ton of gods get killed in this. And the only god who gets, aside from the one at the beginning, the only god who gets killed is, or he doesn't even get killed, is Zeus. And guess who kills him? Fucking Thor.
Yeah, you see the...
So he's the god butcher.
You see the big dragon-like god die, but it's after the fact. And that's another god that gets killed. But yeah, I mean, there's a slaughter of gods that should have been...
Oh, that just reminded me, Luis. One of the things when the trailer came out, one of the things that the internet was really excited about was the fact that it was like a shot for shot, whatever.
Oh,
like,
absolutely, yeah.
You know, this is pulled from the comic book, and now it's on screen. I don't. Is he okay?
Yeah.
I
don't know what happened.
Oh, he's pulling that page, I bet. But it didn't even matter.
It didn't matter. Yeah.
They also, all you're really doing is just going for this aesthetic real quick, like flash on the screen, like, ooh, look at us. You know, we're giving what the comic fans want, but it didn't serve anything as far as the story goes.
Yeah.
And that's that to me at the core is what I have a problem with Taika Waititi, is that he's kind of like all flash and no substance. I mean, I have never seen Jojo Rabbit, so I can't speak to that. But it's like, to me,
I think he's perfectly capable of substance.
Yes,
but I just got the impression that he just didn't give a fuck with this movie.
I think. Listen, I've heard interviews and I've heard people and I've watched listened to podcasts about it. It seems like he did give a fuck, but he was just giving a fuck in different he was just wilding out. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted it to be a tight 2 hour. He didn't really care. And he just wanted to do it his way. You know, I don't think he wanted to go big. I think he felt the pressure of Ragnarok. I mean, I don't know. But they were talk about, like, how do you follow up with Ragnarok? And I think maybe it was just like, let's go big and let's keep this tight. And I think that's what happened, is that you tried to keep too much in a short time frame. But I feel like he did care. But it just... the execution of it is what we got.
I just don't think he gave a fuck about how it came across. And granted, I don't want him to be like, oh, I've got to pander to all the fans. But I just I feel like you hold this up to any movie outside of, or inside or outside of Marvel. It just doesn't come across as a very well drawn out film. Like, the way that it's edited. Put together, the story again, it just is so overwhelmed with just gags and jokes, it kind of overtakes everything else that's happening. And I got a little teary-eyed towards the end when Gore is talking to his daughter again, but that's imagery that a father is gonna react to in a certain way. And
there was a really cool
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there was a really cool moment when, I mean, it was very small and tiny, when Thor and Jane are walking onto the black and white area, and you just see their hands, and they're basically rubbing and touching. And that was like, wow, what a small, innocent moment that we're not having any jokes, and we're just kind of...
Yeah.
Because I've had that moment when I kind of like someone, and you're barely kind of grazing their hand or whatever. And you kind of having that moment of ooh, we're kind of close. That was a very sweet moment. And again, when Gore's with his daughter, these are these kind of tiny human moments that really pull you in for the
he has some really great flourishes throughout, but he doesn't follow through with any of them, or he's there's such a rush, a rushed energy that again you just don't get to appreciate it because it's immediately undercut by yet another joke or just some kind of harsh editing. I was really looking forward to that scene where they go into the monochrome, because again, they do a good job of building up the dread for Gore, which is what pulls you into every time he comes up.
Yeah,
and yet, and so like you're on his turf now, and you know you don't we still hadn't seen what he was capable of. So this is really a good moment where the real threat comes in, and then they can come back in the climax. But it was so hurried. Like after that, I was just like, it loses me again.
So I had a few things, and I'm going to wrap up just my thoughts on it. The few things that really stood out to me as just really negative that I walked away from going, these were my least favorite parts. Just generally, the CGI was so much. It was just like every scene was, and I know it was like Thor Ragnarok was really colorful and we wanted to do that again, but the CGI just looked so, to me, like kind of fake at a lot of times. Like, especially we talked about when he put that helmet on in the trailer. Dude, and he goes, Jane, you know what I mean?
Started on that part. Yeah.
I mean, I hated the CGI overall. I hated his new suit.
His suit. Okay. He has that blue. Remember before the blue, he had that kind of like, furry suit. That was a cool,
like the Viking or whatever.
Viking suit. I loved that suit.
And it's like, if you're going to do a variant on his like outfit or whatever, let's just follow through with that. That looks nice. But then it became like a toy, like an action figure. Mm-hmm. And like, to me, I think Thor has had a pretty basic costume from the beginning to like Endgame, but he's looked great every time because it's so simple.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they just felt the need to do this like goldish blue action figure, oh God, I just was not into it. But the other thing that I was really upset about, because I like Chris Hemsworth and I like Chris Hemsworth as Thor, was that Thor just came across as like a total meathead this entire movie. And if you think about what was all of this emotional growth during Infinity War and Endgame, if all you're going to do is make him some dumb jock at his next movie, assuming it's his send off, you know what I mean?
Having another crisis.
And it's just like, we didn't need to repeat that part of the storyline. I would have liked him to be able to be mature enough to help someone. Imagine Jane, who's always been kind of like smarter than him or something, needing his like emotional strength or something. Well, that kind of takes it a different direction. I don't mean that necessarily, but I don't know. It just, the way he, and also every single line was just like, you know what I mean? Like comedy. And it was just
everything
like,
he did was ironic. Like
one note the entire way for Thor. And it's like, dude, I feel like Chris Hemsworth is better than that. I think if you had made Thor a meathead at the very first movie, you would have been forgiven, because it would have been like Chris Hemsworth's first big Marvel movie. It's too late in the game.
He was growing as a character.
Exactly.
It feels reductive. Yeah. It definitely feels reductive to where we've been with the character. Like, I'm thinking like Infinity War. He was great in Infinity War.
Yes. I think the one moment where I have to jump in, where I fell in love with him, was that moment he has with Rocket. And he's he's there, and he's kind of having like this really incredibly vulnerable moment where he's kind of breaking down. And he's like, I lost my mother, I lost my father, I lost my brother, I lost my best friend, but that's okay. I'm good to go. You know what I mean? Where it's like he's on the verge of breaking down, but also like just being kind of insane and comedic. You know what I mean? It's like that weird fine line of just like complete utter vulnerability, and then still trying to find comedy in this depression. And that's what like there was like one or two times he came out and I was like, yes, give me that Thor, because Chris Hemsworth does such a good job of that vulnerability and trying to handle vulnerability with comedy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, just echoing what you said about Infinity War, like that.
Wasted potential. It's really just how I felt at the end of this for everyone. I also did like just a couple of things. So
let's talk about what we loved. Let's talk about what we loved.
I don't want to be a total sourpuss. There were some things that I liked. So obviously, like I said, the intro to get us caught up to Christian Bale's gore, I thought was really nice. It made perfect sense. It justified him right away. I loved it, and I really would have loved to have seen more Christian Bale. He's one of my favorites. I loved the mighty Thor moment, with as much as they were building to it, and as silly as they were being throughout the rest of the movie. I thought her shining moment was shown. You know what I mean? I was having a great time. I personally did not enjoy the kids being kidnapped storyline, but I thought it redeemed itself beautifully when he gives them the power of Thor temporarily. That was one of the bits I laughed at.
Can I step in on that one?
And I'm sorry, just to say that I loved that moment. I thought it was really good. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I enjoyed that moment too, because for me it kind of harkened back to a lot of kind of like old action films, and I'm thinking of like The Temple of Doom, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where kids are under threat, but in kind of like a playful circumstance. Granted, I feel like this was misjudged as far as like what the character Gore was supposed to be. And I didn't see him going after children, but obviously he's using that as a lure for Thor and stuff. But and so like that was one way to raise the stakes, but they kind of undermined that with the jokes in between. Like these kids are absolutely relaxed, but but that moment where like he gives them all power and the kids partake in the final climax. That was kind of like a air punching moment. You're just like, yeah, great. And like, if a kid was watching that, that'd be fantastic to see.
Absolutely, right? You would think that they would enjoy that moment. That they would feel like I'm Thor in this moment as well. Cool. And I thought that played.
Yeah, he's repeating those lines that his father said from the first movie whenever he takes his power away, and I thought that was a nice touch too. It was that was a very well played moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I really enjoyed that climactic battle. I thought it was handled really well for the most part. I thought the end was pretty good for the most part, too. I was surprised at how much I was enjoying myself in those last, 10, 15 minutes of the film. Yeah. Because I hated every minute leading up to it. But, yeah, I mean, I thought it had a strong ending. I enjoyed him running off into the sunset, kind of with his, quote-unquote, daughter or whatever,
right? Love
the Love and Thunder.
That was his daughter in real life, by the way.
That's true. That's true.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, another thing, we're talking about Christian Bale. I remember him saying that, "Oh, my kids were the ones that really made me do this movie." You know what I mean? They really wanted me to, and it's like
you see that gun coming in at the side of the screen.
Yeah, you're like, damn. No wonder he's like so over it in the press junket or whatever. He's just like, yeah. And then I did this movie. Yeah, it's just like such a waste. But anyway, so those are the moments I enjoyed.
One of my favorite moments, honestly, I think
say it.
Russell Crowe fucking nailed it in this movie. I've been a long time fan of Russell Crowe. I've always been excited to see what he comes up with next. And I don't think I've ever seen him do such a comedic performance. He obviously did The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling a few years back.
Right.
But this, you could just tell he was having a good time. And I don't think, if there's one thing you can take away from this movie, I think a lot of people had a good time making it.
Yeah, sure. That yes.
Or at least the cast did, maybe not the visual effects crew. But But you know what I mean? Like you
definitely get that feeling for sure.
One thing you can expect from Taika Waititi is kind of like a kind of laid back set, and to see Russell Crowe to take on this such a flamboyant and fun role and pulls it off so well. Like you can have some actors try to be funny, and you're just like, ugh. I mean, you guys may not agree, but I thought he rocked it, and I just had a big cheesy grin on my face, and I was very glad to see him in the post-credit sting still alive. So bring that on. Shout out to Brett Goldstein, by the way, who's gonna be fucking Hercules.
Roy fucking Kent, he's here. He's there. He's everywhere. He's every fucking where. I know. That's the first thing I thought of too. I was like, Roy
that was
fucking
such
Kent. He's there. He's every fucking where.
Man, I was so vocal in that moment. Yeah. Everybody in my crew just looked at me.
I couldn't believe it when
Ted Lasso.
I couldn't believe this boy showed up as fucking Hercules. I was like, Roy Kent, what are you doing here? Yeah.
what a role to like go against like typecast. Like,
Absolutely.
you'd think he would like scoff at doing a Marvel movie, let alone playing Hercules.
This is the beautiful thing is we didn't get any spoilers about this. You know what I mean? It wasn't like this character's going to play Hercules. It was a complete shock, and I love those moments where you're like, "Whoa!" Like you get the.
But
news
it's what
of
I'm
it.
excited about.
Yeah.
Like, if I had seen Harry Styles show up at the end of Eternals in theaters, I would have been like, "Fuck." But I saw him, and I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I love it."
Ed, going off of what you were saying about Russell Crowe, because I loved it too. I have a friend who's from Australia, and he was commenting that he was doing a rip-off imitation of this guy from the comedy company of a character called Con the Fruitier. I'm going to send you a link of it, and you guys can check it out later. But when I watched the video, I was like, oh, this does look like what Russell Crowe was doing. Not to take away
like
from
accent or just like the performance.
Like the accent, a little bit of the mannerisms. You know, it was as if like I wanted to do Christopher Walken for a movie, and people were like, "Oh, he's doing Christopher Walken." You know, and because Russell Crowe's Australian, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my buddy's Australian, and he commented it. Maybe it might have been like something in the zeitgeist. And so I was like, "Oh, what an interesting take!" Because I'm not from Australia, but you know the culture of it. I'm literally going to Slack. I'm literally going to text you guys this right now, and you can watch it later.
Miguel, what did you think of Russell Crowe?
Oh, okay. So Russell Crowe, that was the other small thing tiny bit of joy that I had in this movie. He was a lot of fun. The bit about him like swinging the lightning back and forth and up and down.
Oh, that was so funny.
That was like a gag. That was a gag that worked. You know what I mean? So in the moment, I was appreciating it. And again, like to Ed's point, he did look like he was having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
I loved the accent for him. It was something that I didn't think about at all. I imagined like Zeus from Hercules, the cartoon, is like Rip Torn. He's got this really deep voice or whatever. Yeah. And the fact that he put on this like Greek accent, which is like, of course, dude, of course he would do that. No,
and he's like, "Cool it, baby."
Yeah.
I was like, Russell.
Yeah, I was having a good time. And the fact that he was like, I know Russell Crowe's put on a little bit of weight, but I love the fact that Zeus was fat a little.
No,
you know?
Me too.
Yeah.
It fits the character.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, oh my goodness. I know it's maybe like stereotypical like fat Greek man or whatever, but I was having
not really.
I was having a well.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, all those Greek gods, apart from Dionysus, are portrayed as like hulking, like six-pack abs and all of that, kind of like every like Jesus Christ on a crucifix. Like, they look hot. Not like on a crucifix, but you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. Yes, of course.
They're like godlike imagery. Yeah, like, no, I agree. And like, again, just a wasted opportunity to have like some dramatic heft.
Have all this comedy. Boom, drama. Some real shit's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys like that, at least. I was excited for Russell.
I did have a thought about the Hercules scene at the end. But before I share it, Luis.
Yes.
Why don't you take those headphones off for a second? Because I don't want to spoil something for you.
What are you talking about? Spoil what? What are you going to spoil?
Do it. I want to hear it.
So at the end of God of War...
Wait, how am I supposed to know when to come back?
We'll wave.
Okay, I'll look at your wave. I'm actually going to turn it off right here. Headphones off.
Don't bullshit. Okay.
I can't hear it.
Yeah. So at the end of God of War, they talk about I think they talk about Zeus a little bit, or they talk about
he's playing right now.
They talk about the sons of Zeus. Kratos fights them a lot throughout the game, and at the very end of the game, after the credits, they cut forward in time, and Thor shows up at the very end, and you only know it's Thor because they show a shot of his hammer. And so it was, you know what I mean? That's how I felt at the end of this movie. Okay, you can come watch it back now. So that's how,
like, you're seeing all those characters come up.
Yeah. And so the fact that Hercules was at the end of this movie is how I felt at the end of what I was just saying.
That's awesome. Luis,
wait, do I have to watch a show to understand what your reference you're making?
No. You'll be glad you didn't hear it, because you got something to look forward to, my friend.
Okay, cool.
That's all you need to know.
Okay, good.
Just in life.
In life, I'm so okay. Great. Listen, I had it. Yeah. What else? I love. Oh, this is one thing we need to talk about that I really loved about this is Stormbreaker. How jealous he was every time he was kind of joking. Like, of course I love you. You know what I mean? I love that one shot where he's kind of talking about Mjolnir, and then Stormbreaker just like peeks right into the camera. That's a good shot where it's like it's on sticks and it's there, and then you clearly have Stormbreaker just peeking into the shot. I loved the dynamic between him and Stormbreaker in this movie. I think that was funny.
Miguel, did you hate that?
Oh, I hated every bit.
No, come on, hey, but that wasn't played so slapsticky. It was played a little bit more like a nuancy. You know what I mean? Or no, you don't think so? He was quieter about it.
I don't think there was the word nuance should not be used in this movie.
I will. On this one, I have to agree with Luis. I thought
it's a good.
I got
bit.
a tickle.
I
got a good tickle. Like the more they did it, I was just like, all right. Like, I mean, it's completely just like random. Like they haven't alluded to this before.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining now, Miguel, that you actually hated the screaming goats.
Hated it.
Dude, there was someone behind me who fucking loved every single time they did it. For me, it wasn't as much, but like they were like anytime on cue, boom, huge laugh.
I will say, like, it got a good giggle out of me most of the time. Towards the end, I was just like,
yes.
Now is not the time.
Yeah.
Like, but if anything, you have to respect their commitment. But the first, and I had been hearing about these goddamn goats leading up to seeing this movie, and when they first came on, I died. Like, I was dying with laughter, and Bryce was wondering what the fuck was wrong with me. He probably thought I was having an asthma attack.
Were you like tears in your eyes crying about this?
No, not quite tears, but I just like had a good chuckle about it, and then from every time after, I was like, okay, I get it. And then like I said, towards the end, I was just not tired of it, but I was just like, you didn't need that joke there. You didn't need that joke there.
To me, the very first time they were introduced was hilarious, and then the interaction with them and the Guardians, where Nebula's like, "I'm going to shoot it" or whatever. I thought that was a really good bit.
I know you guys love Nebula.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites. I can't wait to see more about her in Guardians of the Galaxy. But the only other time it made me laugh was when they ran into the planet.
Oh yes, that was funny.
That was a good bit to me. Other than that, I was cold.
I'm going to be such a pretentious.
The first time it showed up, it was funny, but it kept going.
Good.
It kept going. Yeah.
Yeah. That when they crashed into the planet, literally the first thing I thought of was Rick and Morty, because they did that in that show.
Yeah.
I just saying.
Listen. So what's it called? Do we want to do? We also have other friends who have listened to this.
We do.
We want to hear from them. We've got some reviews. Ed, you saw it with some friends. Do you want to play
I did.
their
I went to
reviews?
go... Yes. I'll make this quick. I saw the movie with our good friends Mike Lindauer, Bryce Perkins, and Chase Austin of the Movie Gap podcast. And we definitely all had varying opinions. I feel like Chase definitely was the most vocal about it coming out of the movie. So anyway, yeah, I have 3 audio clips. I'm going to play one because the other 2 I fucked up royally. So here, the first opinion is from Mike. Here's his opinions coming to you right now. Mike, what were your initial thoughts?
I really liked it. It was a lot funnier than I thought it would be. There was a lot more fighting scenes, which I really liked.
Any favorite moments in particular? Like, what stood out?
Dang, that's a tough one. There was a lot. I would say probably Christian Bale and his performance was probably my favorite part. He was a really good villain. He played that creepy role up really nicely.
Anything you didn't like?
Oh, man. Some of the jokes were kind of corny, but I guess that's to be assumed in a DC or Marvel movie.
You just called it a DC movie.
I know, I'm the worst.
So overall, thumbs up?
Yeah, thumbs up. Should go watch.
All right.
So Mike was, he was pretty up on it. He enjoyed it. One thing I did want to mention is he told me today that he thought it would have played better as a TV show. Miguel, you mentioned 2 movies, but he said, like, since Marvel is doing all of this stuff, the way the comedy was played out and the way that the movie kind of came together,
Listen,
it may have been better as a show.
I'm gonna say this again, but like, if this show pops up on TNT, Comedy Central, whatever, while you're watching just like TV, I think it's a fun show just to have in the background and to like, if it pops up like while you're doing something and you're like, you know what, I'll keep it on, step away, come back. I think it fits for that kind of like feeling. You know what I mean? That experience.
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't know.
So moving on, Chase, as I said, he came back to me today with some like more refined opinions on it. But and I think this was the same for all 3 of them. He agreed Christian Bale was excellent. He did say, if you're not going to take the movie seriously, then why are we watching? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, you need to get in touch with Chase. Maybe we need to just have like a spoilerific podcast on this. But
absolutely.
And then finally, and again, this is just kind of like a snippet of everything he told me. It was not a good movie. He thought Thor Doe was better, as in 2.
Oh. No.
All right, and finally, Bryce Perkins of the movie Gap. He said, "It was a weird film. I enjoyed it, but it's a bad film. It's like a cupcake, sweet and delicious, but no sustenance. I'm still hungry. I'm still hungry at the end of it."
I like that.
Wow. Okay, Bryce.
Yeah. Hey, a few years in the movie Gap has made him a connoisseur of movies.
That's right.
And I think that just kind of nailed it on the head. Like I was saying earlier, it's just kind of, it's entertaining. There's some laughs throughout, but overall, I struggle to see it as a truly good movie.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the humor undercuts all the emotional stuff. As somebody, I wanted to say I wanted to have 2 sections here. Boop. Actually, 3. I'm sorry. I'm taking it over. It's my podcast. It's fine. Okay, the way that I would have loved to see it, this is the Louis time where he would have thought it would be great. Well, first off, again, let's precursor to that. I think as the more Marvel movies that come out, the more like critical we become because we love Marvel and we want it to be the best. You know, we are critiquing it because we love it and we want it to be so good. Endgame came out, Infinity War came out. It was such a stellar movie that we want things to live up to those expectations, that when they don't, we're like, hey, what's happening, you know? So here's kind of what I was thinking. First off, expand that gore story. Give me a little bit more trauma. Give me a little bit more pain. I want to feel that pain more. I want Thor to be finding himself more, not fighting as much. And then Jane, she sees some real shit go down, but the Avengers are gone. No Iron Man, no Captain America, Doctor Strange is gone, Spider-Man's dealing with some issues, and she's like, we need some help. She quote unquote prays to Thor, can't reach Thor, but Mjolnir flies to her and gives her power. You know what I mean? So in the movie, she's like, what can I do to solve my cancer? You know? And she goes out to New Asgard to find Mjolnir. And I feel like that's a way for her to cure herself. But in the comics, Jane Foster becomes Thor because she wants to do good. And I feel like if Jane Foster came into it, like, I don't care that I have cancer. I want to protect the world. I want to save the world. And it can go into this whole promise where Thor was like, Mjolnir, keep her safe. And if Jane wants to help the world, Mjolnir should have just flown to her, making her the mighty Thor, instead of it being like, let me find a way to selfishly save myself. We want Jane to be selfless in her actions to become the Thor. She does do this at the end of the movie. Anyway, that's what I think should happen. Of course, we want Gore to kill more gods, kill gods at Omnipotent City, find out about eternity, and then Jane pushing Thor to be a better god. I think that was a story in when Jane was the god, when it was Mighty Thor in the comics. I think that's super cool. Like, our Thor, Chris Hemsworth Thor, is like struggling with a midlife crisis. What does he want to do? You know, do I want to be a god? Do I want to do this? I don't know. And Jane, who is the heart, and she's the new Thor. the one who's able to hold Mjolnir, says, hey, dude, you got to get your shit together. You know what I mean? You got to become Thor, and you got to still be the god of thunder. And so when she makes her sacrifice at the end, it hits more. And so I just want a little bit more of that selflessness of Jane wanting to save lives instead of her wanting to find a cure. They kind of do it at the end. Anyway, that's what I was hoping for. Final pitch. Please go watch. Please go read Thor, God of Thunder. There are these 2 volumes. So good. We have 3 Thors in there, past, present, future. Now we're entering to another segment. I want to talk about the lore in these movies. Okay. Number 1, interesting thing to talk about, the shadow monsters. Okay. The sword that Gore is pulling out of, you know, that like black god, the
Necro sword.
The Necro sword. Where is this note that I have? It's gone. Whatever. The all black Necro sword. That is actually the original guy who creates Venom and all the symbiotes. Okay. So when I saw the shadow monsters come out, I was like, oh shit, here we go. What a perfect introduction to Venom and the symbiotes, because he was kind of controlling them as they were doing. They were all kind of a hive-mindy vibe. And I thought we were introducing the symbiotes with the Necrosword, because the Necrosword comes from the god of Null, and he is the creator of Venom and all of those symbiotes. So didn't happen. Thought it would have been cool. Symbiote creatures. Necrosword.
Quick question.
Yeah, what's up? Hit me.
The Necrosword. You guys will recall the great Marvel movie, The Eternals.
Yes.
Is that the same sword or a similar sword to the one that Kit Harington is given?
Different sword. That is a different sword, but it's a different sword. I'll say that. That's all I'll say.
Altogether, like not even a symbiote thing. Or
I don't.
Like because I know he's supposed to be the Black Knight,
right? And it does corrupt the person who wields it. So there is a similarity in the same. As at this point,
but they're not the same.
At this point, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Please, viewers, let me know if we are incorrect. We will adjust that next week. But no, it's just something different. But I will say the Necro sword was something that Hela from Thor Ragnarok was wielding.
Oh.
And if you are watching What If, the second episode when Black Panther becomes Star-Lord, there is a scene when the Collector says, mentions something about, I have the Necro sword from the Queen of Death herself, Hela. And he's wielding those fucking like daggers, those obsidian daggers. That is quote unquote a Necro sword. And I thought there would have been some sort of connection between that and this one. But I guess they're differentiating between the all black, quote unquote, the all black Necro sword, which is the one he has, and the Necro sword that Hela from Thor Ragnarok had. There's that thing. At the end of the movie, we see Jane in Valhalla. In the comics, Jane will return as Valkyrie, and as Valkyrie in the sense that she brings souls into Valhalla. So she loses her role as Thor, and she becomes Valkyrie, and she helps bring souls into Valhalla. So who knows if this is something that they're going to lead to, where Jane becomes quote unquote Valkyrie and bring people to this quote unquote heaven. You guys talked about Thor kind of giving the power to the kids. Since Odin is dead, Odin did have Odin power. He was able to have all this magical power he was able to give people. And this is kind of alluding to the fact that Thor is now becoming like Odin, where it's like he should be taking kind of the quote in the comics, quote unquote, King Thor. He's having his Odin power, but it's Thor power. And then finally, I'm going to call this out. Young Avengers, okay, with Love now here as a quote unquote like force to deal with. We're going to have so many Young Avengers to deal with. We have Yelena, the new Black Widow, Kate Bishop, the new Hawkeye, America Chavez, Wanda's kids from WandaVision.
Are they?
They're Wiccan and oh my god, I forget the other one, the fast one, but he's also a Young Avenger.
Flash.
No, not the Flash. Ironheart is coming out. Kamala Khan, which is Miss Marvel, who just came out. She is also involved. And then Love herself. So, I mean, we have a full stack of people who could be, quote unquote, the Young Avengers. in the future here. I just wanted to throw out some lore knowledge of what could not happen, what could be a thing. And finally, I'm going to say I build out this Lego here. Look at this, look at this monstrosity. Go to youtube.com and look up Punch Drunk Nerd. I built out a Lego or Spotify. Look at this thing. What is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be a shadow monster? This is not. This did not appear in the movie. I can tell you that.
Was that a set, or did you do that freehand?
No, this was part of the $20 set. This is the attack on New Asgard. The attack on New Asgard. And you had those like shadow monsters. This was not part of it.
Yeah.
I did get a cool minifig. I got
Hell
Jane.
yeah.
I got Jane as which is really what I wanted. I wanted the minifigs. I got Jane here.
Hey, minifigs are a great
I got
to
Thor
collect.
in his new blue suit. Unfortunately, I want the one where he's in the other thing.
That's still cool though.
It's still cool. And then I have Gore here with his all black necro sword.
I am very jealous right now.
It's $20. It's easy to get. It was a fun, quick build.
It's those 3 and the monster.
3 and the monster that you never actually see in the movie. But he has a lot of good articulation, not only in the shoulders, but in between the arms as well. You know what I mean? So he's got a lot of fun movements, and he's got these like little.
I mean, welcome to Lego.
Exactly. Yeah. Welcome to Lego. It's funny because Ed got me into Lego with the scene from Avengers Endgame when Thor is like super fat and he's playing Fortnite. That scene, it's like a diorama of him with Korg and Meeks. And so now I get a new Thor with Stormbreaker, and I love to add him to my edition. So go to YouTube, look up Punch Drunk Nerd, you'll see what I'm talking about, or go to Spotify, we'll have video clips of that. Listen, that's all I wanted to say about Thor Love and Thunder. Do you guys have any closing statements about it before we move on?
Nope.
I just think they did too many jokes. No.
No. I mean, look, that's
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay.
No, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, kind of really though. Okay. No, I agree.
We talked a lot because
a little disappointed.
We talked a lot because we feel a lot because we love it a lot. Listen, we do love it a lot. So we're going to move on to the final segment here. What we are into. Miguel, hit us up. What's the update? What are you watching, baby? Wait a second. Here goes Miguel.
I knew it was coming. Oh, I wasn't even going to get offended. I was like, yeah, let him go.
I do need another drink. It's always around when you talk. I need another drink.
Well, you know what? Why don't you go to get a drink, and me and Miguel can have a quick talk about God of War if you want.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to go?
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'll fuck right off.
All right, we're having a God of War update.
Where you at?
Okay, so
mute Ed.
Oh yeah, let me mute Ed. Hold on, let me go. He's muted. So the last time we talked, we were looking for the light at Alfheim, whatever.
You were in the Yeah.
We just finished that. I just finished that. I'm done out of that. It's
so long.
I know. I finally got to the peak of the mountain, and now I'm trying to get to Jotunheim, and I'm trying to reach the toppest peak, which is the goal, right? The goal is to reach the toppest peak. So now I'm trying to get access to Jotunheim, but man, I am getting so much XP. I'm learning so many more moves.
Yeah, you are.
And my biggest thing is I really wanted to improve my son's character because I use him a lot. I use him a lot to stun things, and I stun them, and then I attack them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
That's what stun, attack. Stun, attack.
Stun, attack. Dude.
And then now he's doing moves where he's like attacking characters that I'm not even dealing with, which I love.
What's great is, as you get more into the story, he kind of starts doing it all on his own.
Yeah.
And it's nice. Do you have that thing where he has certain like special powers, like the big power ups or whatever? I think one of them, like these like wolves, these ghost wolves come out of him.
I do have that. And you know what? Recently, I just got to the point where he has a new arrow, ability, where before it was just like this. I don't know. He shoots at a crystal and it creates a bridge, but now he has this electricity arrow. But what's really cool is I had to fight a fucking dragon, and that was
the dragon,
dude. What I love about this game is I love the scale. I love the scale. Dude, I wish I was playing on a projector when I was fighting the dragon, and like it was so much fun. It was difficult, but it was so much fun to fight him. But I beat him, and now I'm trying to get a Jotunheim, and I'm in the journey right now. We're trying to I cut off that dude's head, and I reanimated him. But that's my journey. I'm in Jotunheim. I don't. Where am I? Am I like a quarter of the way through? And do I still have like 3/4 left in the game, or what's going on?
So I remember at that moment, and even upon like replaying it, you do kind of get the sense like, oh, I must be close, because they keep kind of telling you like this is like the last step of your journey. You're probably a little less than halfway. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But there's quite a bit more of story to go, and it gets really good. The dynamic between the father and son, oh, bro,
the father won't let up. The father won't let up. He needs to give his son a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. No, there's so much left to be uncovered. I'm always surprised when I get to that point about how much is left in the game. So yeah, keep going. You're in a really great spot. That's one of my favorite levels, is the elf mine, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Not elves. Not gremlins. Why am I blanking on the name of whatever those creatures are supposed to be?
The dwarves.
What's his name? The short beardy guy from Lord of the Rings was one of them.
Trolls. No.
It doesn't matter.
They're dwarves. They build. Dwarves build.
Yes.
Similarly to in Thor. Yeah. You know what? I was interesting because they I just unlocked something from Muspelheim. I don't know Muspelheim. It's like the realm of fire. It's really all I know about this is because of Thor from Marvel. So I thought, the new game, Thor Ragnarok, was going to have to deal with the realm of fire, because in Thor Ragnarok, that's the dude who does Ragnarok, is the guy from the realm of fire from Muspelheim. But then I unlocked something, and I was like, you have all the runics. Anyway,
dude,
I'm
keep at it. It's a ton of fun. You're a lot further in the game than I thought you were going to be at this point. So
I really wanted to get past that section in this podcast. I want to be like, okay, I need to get past that. The whatever. The witch. Yeah.
And the turtle. She comes back. They come back. You'll enjoy that.
So we're doing good. We're trying to get to Jotunheim. But now that Ed is back in the video, we're going to go what we're into. Back to Miguel. What have you been into? Get an update.
Okay, so I said this last week. I was watching Mad Men, and I was telling you how I'm just kind of not sure if I'm into it. It's really slow. It's really drawn out. It's this like really slow character study period piece, which is like words that like kill me. I'm like blah blah blah. So I just finished season 1, and I have to say it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It has a really good ending. The characters are all in really great places. It made me a little bit excited for season 2, although I am currently taking a break because there's so many other shows that I'm trying to watch right now, especially like The Boys, Stranger Things, yada yada.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to do all that, and it's hard to when you're stuck in these long drawn out episodes of Mad Men. But I've been having a good time. Solid. I'm definitely going to come back to season 2, and I will probably finish the story because it's like, okay, I'm hooked. They also, I think we might have mentioned this last week. I don't remember. There's a lot of like fun references to the time. Like I think we might have mentioned this. Like they talk about the gaslight.
Yeah.
They talk about Lenny Bruce. These are all characters and places in Marvelous Miss Maisel as well. So just to put a button on it, I did finish Mad Men season 1. I've been busy moving. I haven't had much else going on. I did also just start playing The Last of Us Part 2, but just as like I just need something to do because I've played it before.
Listen, if you get to if you're going past season 3 of Mad Men, let me know. I will join you because I don't think I got past season 3. I mean, look, it's a long journey. I think they got 7 seasons. I think they have 7 seasons. Top of my head. I may
not finish the whole thing, but
that's fair. But you're right. I mean, it is difficult. I will be talking about The Boys. I feel like that is like a perfect show to watch. But Miguel, we thank you for giving me what you're into. Ed, let us talk about what you've been into. Okay.
What have we been into? The most pressing thing that wrapped up today with its season finale is Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
What a delightful little show.
Oh, what a
Um,
delight.
I have to say, like, of all the Marvel shows, this might be the most satisfying from beginning to end.
Interesting.
I really kind of fell in love with the character. Iman Delani. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I am.
Yeah.
I think she's really great. I think she is completely and utterly just like endearing as a character.
Yeah, I agree.
She plays it so well. She's completely lovable. And the show, I felt, did where so many of these shows, Marvel and Star Wars alike, and note that this is just seems to be a problem with Disney right now, where there's always an episode or two where we feel like they need to trim the fat.
Right.
Like
totally.
this is just a filler episode. Everything I felt with this show, for the most part, was very organic, very just like natural. It flowed. There was a constant drive in the story,
Yep.
and it kept me invested for the most part. I think the least exciting thing about it was the villains, if you can even call it that.
Right.
But overall, I found the story utterly endearing. The friends and family, her friends and family, I mean, are so well developed, and her relationship to them, like they're not just like characters who are just kind of shoved in there. Like you feel that sense of loyalty and devotion to
That's true.
both her. Like her parents are wonderful. In a stark contrast to having got out of Moonlight.
I do love her parents. I think they do a fantastic job in the show. I think they're one of my favorite parts of the show. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Like you're right. There is no wasted episode. It feels like every time you see something, they are pushing towards something.
The story's going somewhere constantly. I feel like.
I agree. I will say, to counterpoint, and again, we've had over 100 hours of Marvel, so now we're like, this is our baby. We want it to be good.
This is plus, yeah.
And it's just I've come to realize, like, listen, not everything's going to be Endgame. I think.
No.
When the third act came and she finally got in her costume, I was like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do this. And she's jumping around, being Miss Marvel in her full self. I was excited. But as being a Disney Plus show and on Disney Plus thing, I felt like they were narratively like very point to point. Like, we got to get to this narrative point, to this narrative point, to this narrative point. They're on the nose, and they were doing everything in the most efficient way possible. Even like narratively and even shot wise, where it was like, I'm going to talk about it later, but I'm watching shows like The Boys, or I'm watching The Umbrella Academy, where they are taking opportunities to do things, like to showcase things in fun, interesting ways. And here it was like mid, and like just kind of like, I would have loved to see some diversity, but they did everything so efficiently, and they do it in a fun way, which makes you want to go on. And the characters are fun too.
I was going to say,
but it was very
it does have
point,
some
like point, efficient, which I was like, okay, I wish I would have had a little bit more creativity to it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, to your point, I feel like this definitely had its own unique style to it.
Agreed.
Almost in a very Edgar Wright way.
Especially
if that makes sense, kind of like
the first episodes and
the first
the end.
Episode.
Yeah. Like a Scott Pilgrim. Exactly. Scott Pilgrim, yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. And it has hints of that throughout, though I'll grant you it kind of sheds that going into the more it goes into its plot.
Right.
And you're right, it does kind of go like, yes, point to point to point. But it does feel natural. Mm-hmm. It feels like a natural growth. Like you said, when they finally reveal her costume,
right.
It feels like it was organically done. It wasn't just like a fucking armor upgrade, like at the end of Mandalorian every episode.
Right.
Like it was earned. You felt her growing.
Yeah.
As a new coming superhero, like. We got to see that growth. and also the embrace of the culture, obviously. And
yeah, I love that part.
You know me, I'm like a
Showcasing it.
sucker for history, but
Absolutely.
they actually spent like a good deal of time dealing with the India and Pakistan partition in the 40s.
I loved that. I had no idea about that history, and to understand a little bit more of that was so enlightening. You know what I mean? And that
no, as a British man whose country
invaded?
inflicted that on those. No, I mean the partition was primarily England's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was because of their policies that was such a disaster. Like, there were nearly like 2 million deaths involved in that transition alone, and you obviously don't hear it or see it a lot. And to see it in a Marvel show, what's more, and kind of done very well, I thought.
Yeah.
Like those episodes where they're actually in Pakistan, and they have that flashback episode. I thought it was done really well. I think I didn't think the villains were very compelling. I didn't fully understand what they were trying to go out and achieve. I understand that the agency at the end of the day was kind of like the main villain. What is it called? The control or the incident control?
Control damage. Right.
Damage control.
Damage control. Yeah.
It was the same guy from Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Exactly, and the same department that shut down in Spider-Man: Homecoming with Michael Keaton's character when he was taking things.
Oh, that's
apart.
right.
That is the same.
Yeah.
That is the same department that said.
That's the same. Okay,
group. Yeah,
I got you. And that was good, but I liked the last episode where they have the high school kind of stakeout where they're pulling those agents into the building. It's kind of like a Home Alone situation.
What a bunch of incompetent agents, though. You know what I mean? I was watching.
Absolutely.
I was like, what? These guys are not trained at all. This is the thing. These
idiots.
Yeah, these characters are. You're right. These characters are so sincere, so unique, and there's not a wasted episode, which is like really great to see when you get so many wasted episodes in Disney Plus sometimes. But they do things so efficiently, on the point, not a lot too creative damage. So it's really a fun balance. It's really interesting balance between like you're doing a good job with this, but also you're kind of like, I don't know, CW-ish this way too, and also
checking off doing the checklist as they go along.
But you're right. I mean, these characters are fun. They're endearing. They're so honest and genuine that you kind of get pulled into it, even though it's
absolutely.
And
I don't think by any means it was groundbreaking, but it was solid, and like you said, it was genuine. It came from like a genuine place, and I came away thinking like I learned something about not only this character,
totally,
but the culture. It's like a nice big warm hug, just like, hey, this is the other side to Islam, kind of thing, where in so many shows and movies, there's a very just like one-dimensional look at other religions, especially Islam.
Absolutely.
Especially Islam in America. So it was nice, and it was an easy watch, I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
I
think a show like this, I was surprised how long this show was. Every time I tuned in, I was like, damn, I really have to commit like 50 minutes, 40 minutes to the show.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if this was a little bit like 30, like it felt like it could have been like a 30-minute or something.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I like you said, easy watch, easy listen. I think there's some cool stuff with, what's it called? The suit comes from the mom, but the name comes from the dad, which I thought was really cool. Somebody called that out online. And listen, we have to talk about two big things. And Miguel, I don't know if you care about spoilers. And audience members, I don't know if you care about spoilers.
We know Miguel doesn't care about spoilers.
Huge. You're going to be a huge spoiler here. Fast forward. But we finally get our introduction into the mutants. Okay? We even got the music of X-Men being played in the fucking song. They were saying, listen, Kamala, there's not only something inside you, but there's some sort of mutation within you. And then when that line was said, we heard the sound cue. Yes.
Oh, dude,
You
that's
heard
hype.
you heard that, and that's the second time they've done that. The first time was in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and here's the second time. And they were keeping that under they were being very secretive. I think even the person who was playing that character who said that line didn't even know he was going to say that line until he was close to set. But yeah, I mean, we are clearly now working our way towards the mutants, where Miss Marvel was a Inhuman character in the comics, but they're changing it where now, hey, she's a mutant.
She's actually a mutant.
And that makes, because I think that was the question when you're watching it. You're like, well, why couldn't anybody else in her family hold that bangle and have her abilities?
Yeah.
You know, like, could her mom do it? Could her brother do it? You know, why is it that only Kamala can have that ability? It's because she is also a mutant. And that was pretty cool when it happened, I think.
Yeah.
Another big reveal, obviously, at the end, we know that Miss Marvel is going to be in the movie The Marvels. So who do you expect to see at the end of the end credits? Miguel, who would you expect to see at the end of those end credits?
Brie Larson.
Exactly. We got ourselves a taste of Brie Larson. She shows up at the end.
Easy versus.
Yeah. She shows up at the end, and we don't really know what's going on. Kamala wakes up. She sees her bangle kind of freak out, and then in some weird, I don't know, twisted way, she shrinks into some weird way, and then out of nowhere, Captain Marvel appears into her room. And so it looks like there's some sort of substitution effect that's happened, some sort of swapping places effect that's happened. Yeah, they swapped places. So they're clearly setting up for Miss Marvel. I see Captain Marvel appear, and I'm like, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready for this movie. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I got. Oh, I also wanted to say that it's interesting with the damage control situation, because they're hunting down powered people. That anybody who's powered, they're hunting them down, which is the perfect leeway into She-Hulk, as she is dealing with people who are getting legally in trouble, who are
attorney
at law. As we have more people who are super powered, who are kind of being trapped.
I didn't even think about.
She-Hulk will come in and she will help those who are caught in these kind of situations.
Absolutely.
That is Miss Marvel. Yes, that was our discussion. Ed, what else have you been into?
Okay, so Luis, a couple of weeks back when Miguel was absent,
yes,
we talked about The Baby, which you've been watching on HBO.
Yeah,
I haven't finished it yet, because actually Miss Marvel ended up drawing my attention and focus more.
Interesting.
And I was trying to catch up on that. It's an interesting show.
It's an interesting show. I will say that.
It's interesting. You may have mentioned it, but I didn't remember you saying it. That it was set in England.
Yeah.
So, bestill my heart. But it was that was a fun surprise, and the tone of it is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very darkly comic. I've just gone to, I want to say, episode 4. So we've met the female version of Werner Herzog as the, I don't know, baby killer.
Yes, yeah.
It's such a bizarre show, but I can't help but feel curious to where it's going to go. But it's very quick. It moves pretty quickly. It's very darkly funny. And it's got just very bizarre moments in it.
Yeah, it's all this terrible killings happening, and you cut to the baby, and it's just a baby. Do you know what I mean? Now that you
yeah. And the baby is done very well. It's not just a shitty CGI baby or anything. It's got my interest, and I look forward to finishing it and seeing where it goes.
I'm interested. Once you finish it, I'm interested to hear your thoughts at the end. We can talk about that
for sure. I'll bring it up again. I just wanted to kind of throw it out there that I'm on board, and it's not what I expected at all. So it'll be interesting. The bigger one that I want to talk about is Good Luck, Leo Grande or Grand. It's a new movie with Emma Thompson on Hulu.
Right.
Sarah and I watched it the other night on the projector. Basically, it's about a retired teacher who's maybe like 2 years a widow, and she didn't have that good of a sex life during her 25 plus years of marriage, and as such is putting herself out there and hired a sex worker to have sex with her. Basically the movie is based purely around these meetings in a hotel room. It takes place mostly in a hotel room that they get over the course of 4 or 5 appointments. And it was actually a really lovely, kind of powerful film. Emma Thompson is great as always. I don't know how this will fare in the Oscar season, but she is very good. She really puts herself out there, and you can't help but respect her for it. Because it's really a movie about, encouraging women to accept themselves in their natural form, and also just like their sexual desires and wants and needs that women have just as much as men, kind of thing. Even and especially like middle-aged to older women who have in our generations have spent so much energy on kind of shaming themselves. Like there's this like stigma about sexuality at past a certain age with women in real life and actresses. So she really kind of tries to break down those barriers, but it's very like naturalistic. It's very funny at times, very sad at times, shocking. And I need to give credit to the actor who plays the sex worker. I'm sorry, Leo Grande, in the movie. I'm so sorry. But it's basically
Daryl
just
McCormick?
Thank you. It's basically these two throughout most of the movie. There are some other characters who come in, but it's very brief. But they have great chemistry together. He's really good. I thought he made a good argument for a potential Bond in the future.
Wow.
He's very charming, obviously very good looking. And they both play their roles really well. And so I would just say this, I would recommend it to anybody, any couple who wanted to watch like a sex positive, image positive film at home on Hulu. Miguel.
Got called out.
Why am
bro.
I getting called out right now?
Purely because it's on Hulu. Like,
Okay.
you don't have to go to the theater for this one.
I see.
Yeah, that's all.
No, I wouldn't be seeing this smut in the cinema to know.
Oh my goodness.
No,
No,
it's
actually, Ed, I gotta say, I wasn't thinking about this a second ago, but when you're talking about this movie, it made me think about it. The only other thing that I watched this week was something that Kristen made me watch. There's this new show on Netflix called How to Build a Sex Room, I think is what it's called. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
And it is like an interior home design show where it all centers around a sex room in each couple's homes. They come to like this like sexologist or whatever, and she like designs these rooms and she sits down with them. She gets to know them. And it is, for me, like, I don't want to say like I'm not a prude or anything, but I was just like, I was like, oh my God, these people are on TV right now. Like, these people have jobs and families.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, shove it right at my butt. You know what I mean? You're just like, whoa, okay, this is not for me. But I was just thinking about that. That was the only thing we watched this week. So you guys give it a watch. It's on Netflix. How to build a sex room. I'm dying to know what you guys think.
Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, this is kind of along those same lines. It's never graphic, but it definitely embraces the human form. I'll say that much.
I challenge you to...
It was such a nice, like, Sarah really enjoyed it. It was such, like, just, like, a nice surprise of a film that was, like I said, it's definitely less than 2 hours, and it's centrally located in this hotel room. Yeah, I know. Hey, Hulu, less than 2 hours. Miguel, there's no reason why you shouldn't watch this.
I actually don't watch things on Hulu anymore because
Oh my god.
I know, dude.
I can't win. I can't win.
I know. It's just because now I have the free Hulu, so it's like ads. And I'm not into it. I avoid it like the plague.
Well, I wonder what their movies would be like then.
I don't know. That's
like,
why I don't
would
want
they play all the ads at the beginning?
I imagine either all at the beginning or they're broken up into like just two quick sections in the middle of the thing. So I don't know.
All right. So that was the big one, and then I made Sarah watch Last Night in Soho, and I rewatched The Professional, which I did a podcast with Chase and Bryce, the guys I mentioned earlier on the Movie Gap. We talked about it. It's a little favorite of mine. Revisiting Last Night in Soho, which is on HBO Max. I appreciated it more because that movie is so rich with detail and clues, and I would just recommend, if you're a fan of Edgar Wright, but also like thrillers, and a visually stunning one at that.
Yeah.
This is a really good movie.
I like Last Night in Soho because, you know, we have a short, you know, like we have like a what am I trying to say? Like a shorthand way of saying certain features in movies. Like, oh, that's very Edgar Wright. You know, these very quick paced, quick zooms, kind of like styles of filmmaking. Scott Pilgrim, what's it called? Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz. Like they all kind of carry the same film aesthetic. And I think Last Night in Soho, you get to see Edgar Wright kind of expand from that and do something different, which is cool. But he's able to keep like a very, I don't know. You could tell like this is a guy who knows how to do film, and that's what I really enjoy about Last Night in Soho. Is like this guy,
and he loves
film.
yeah,
and he's trying to do something new, and he's expanding, and you get to see it, and it's cool. I think,
and I think it shows a lot of promise. It's not by any means like a perfect film, but I totally agree with what you just said. It's a good like step away from what we're used to.
Yeah,
for him.
Full of intention. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like I said, it was like so rich with detail, and like I've listened to a lot of like interviews and spoiler podcasts about it since then. So, like I was looking for more of the clues and the hints that they drop along the way, and it is so masterfully done along the way that it's not like spoilerific. It's just more like these are the little breadcrumbs that he intentionally puts for you.
That's what makes it a good like second viewing. Like it's not just one of those movies where you watch it once and you're like, oh, I know what's happening, so it's not as good a second time. Like,
exactly.
Watching it the second time, you're like, ooh, I get to be a part of the inside crew and see it come together. You know,
and it made it better for me. For me, anyway. Like I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed it the first time, but you know when you know what you're looking for the second time around, which I feel like is the same for any kind of like murder mystery thriller or anything like that. So it was fun to watch, and I wanted to mention this with Miss Marvel. It just makes me wish, since they're so heavy on Taika Waititi right now, like let Edgar Wright do his Marvel movie. He probably wouldn't now, but man, like the fact that they with what they've been doing in recent years, I was just thinking the other night, rewatching this movie, I was like, Marvel, you fucked up. Edgar Wright was prime and ready for a Marvel movie, and I don't know what went wrong, but that was a missed
He was one of the early ones too. Like he was one of the early adopters.
Ant-Man,
like
right?
Jon Favreau and Edgar Wright were like primed at the beginning to do these movies. Yeah,
such a shame. And it definitely feels like they have a different attitude towards that now, and having come out of Thor: Love and Thunder, is like, would Edgar Wright's vision have been really so bad? Like, come on. Anyway, that's all I've got for this week.
Miguel, I felt like you were pining to say something.
I was just going to say, I hadn't thought about Edgar Wright in a hot minute, but you're absolutely right. Like, he was going to come do Ant-Man, and then that fell through, and Ant-Man really felt like a movie that he would have, that would have benefited from Edgar Wright.
Oh,
but then I'm sitting here thinking, instead of having Taika Waititi try to capture lightning in a bottle twice, Edgar Wright could have totally come in and done the follow-up to Thor Ragnarok.
Oh,
man.
My God.
Absolutely.
Dude. What the
And it
fuck?
would have been
You just blew my
been what
mind.
Thor Ragnarok was to Thor 2. It would have been
Yeah.
the refresher. It would have given him something new. And not to
Or
say that
continued that energy, at
yes,
least.
but in its own way. You know what
You
I mean?
didn't
As
have to have
opposed
the
about
pressure
trying-
of like, I just did Thor Ragnarok, let me do something different.
now I do it again.
It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
hey, why don't
Yeah.
you do another prop? Why don't you do Ant-Man? You know what I mean? Like, why don't Taika do
Yeah.
Ant-Man? You know, yeah, wow. That's interesting. Wow, if you had Edgar
Totally.
Wright Thor,
yeah,
that'd be
it just
crazy.
dawned on me about that.
So cool. It's the same
you get
feeling
what you
like if it was another Doctor Strange movie, like if we couldn't get Sam Raimi, the next one could be Guillermo del Toro. How cool would that be?
See,
As a new-
absolutely,
Hey.
absolutely.
Don't take me there. I could. Oh, man.
I would rather that than Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange. Actually, now that I think about it, like
Give us someone else. Yeah.
no, I'm sorry, no, we're going to be here for another hour if I start talking
Okay.
about this. So we'll think about it. We'll let this ruminate a little bit.
Bring in Martin Scorsese for the next Avengers.
Dude, how fucking funny that would that be?
And then he dies. You know what I mean? Right
Yeah.
after. So like the last movie he did was a Marvel movie.
We're gonna give you
Oh,
$1
man.
billion to do a Marvel movie. Like, will that shut you up? Will you finally do it? All right.
Give me some
Mark-
Italian superheroes. Let's
Yeah, yeah,
fucking go.
He could do like a Daredevil movie.
Ooh.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
hey,
Or like a
Ryan
We'll be here all
Punisher.
night.
Ryan Gosling said he was interested in Ghost Rider. Let Martin Scorsese direct that.
Mm.
Is that one that he liked? Did he like Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider?
No, he just likes his abs, man.
Okay.
Here I am. It's my turn to shine. Listen, I'm gonna do some quick reviews here.
I'm gonna go to a
over,
restroom again.
over the weekend I watched the Aldous Snow Duology. Do you know what that means?
No.
The Aldous Snow Duology.
That's the.
Is that the guy from?
Wait.
Figure
That
it out.
is
Figure it out.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
And get him
Yes.
to the Greek.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it, man. Yeah, we watched
right.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall popped up on TV and we were just watching it. And man, that movie is so full of great small bits. Like
Classic.
it's like they have these cutaway moments that are so funny. Of course, they have like the movie's funny, but it has these like quick like 5-second, 2-second increments throughout the movie of just like, wow, they just filmed all these smaller bits throughout. So
Yeah.
funny. And then after we finished, I was like, let's watch Get Him to the Greek and let's keep going down this Aldous Snow train. And Russell Brand does such a good job with that character. It's really funny to see, and we just laughed so much to see them getting fucked up, like with Jonah Hill getting fucked up at the new segment, and I don't know, it's great.
Could I say?
Yeah,
Could I say real quick? I was a huge fan of the soundtrack from Get Him to the Greek.
yeah,
So they continued that, his songs from
yes,
Getting Sarah Marshall. But though, like, those kind of like quote unquote jokesy songs, satire song,
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you would describe it, but those songs are actually bangers. Like Furry Walls is
Yes.
a great fucking song. I'm gonna send you guys some tracks to this, but and I'm blanking on the band name, but like there was one thing I took from Get Him to the Greek was the soundtrack was uniquely very good for a movie comedy about like a fake music artist.
I know. I'm trying to find who composed the music. Who did the music?
I'm just looking at Furry Walls. Infant Sorrow
Infant. Sorry,
is the artist, and then they have a song called The Clap.
Oh, the claps. Good.
Beans and Mash.
Yes.
But Furry Walls is or Inside of You from Forgetting Sarah.
Yes, they did it. They brought
Which
it up
is so
again.
good. Yeah, I mean the lyrics are hilarious. It's one of those songs that like, yeah. I'm gonna go back and listen to all of these songs.
It's such a
because
fun, like,
it's been a minute.
that is a fun movie. Like when you wake up, you have nothing to do on a Saturday or Sunday. Like
Yep.
those are fun movies. The Aldous Snow Duology, a connected universe that you didn't expect to happen, and it was really great. Another thing I saw was the Avengers Assembled. It's the behind the scenes of Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. A couple things I wanted to point out that was really cool was that they have virtual cameras now on iPads. So if you want to see where certain monsters or explosions are happening, it's all happening on an iPad, and you can kind of trace it. It's like what was happening with Avatar, where you were able to see the VFX and the graphics on camera. But they had all these rigs, they had all this material, they had all this equipment, and now you don't need all that. You can just use an iPad to see everything, to see, hey, if we framed it at this angle, how does that explosion look? I thought that was really cool. I thought was also really cool was, man, they had this one detail of a bell fucking exploding and falling to the floor. A bell, okay? What a small detail. It took them 4 months to coordinate that motion to happen. And I thought that is what makes movies cool. Like we talk about Top Gun, about how much time it takes to really showcase a real event. Like those are the things that pull us through. We want to see the movie magic. We want to see how all those things happen. This is also the most wire intensive movie, one of the most wire intensive movies. And after watching this, I still think that the character who played America Chavez is a little too bubbly. That is all I'm going to say. I love the character. I love the actor. Actor's great. I just think that it was a miscast in that she's a little bit too bubbly for me. Mr. Fantastic, John Krasinski, was added later, it looked, behind the scenes. Yeah. And I also thought it was funny that they didn't show any Spider-Man stuff in the behind the scenes stuff because Sony owns that properties. So when they were showing Doctor Strange stuff, we didn't see any of the drama that happened from Spider-Man. Those are my thoughts, quick thoughts. And then I watched The Umbrella Academy. I binged the whole thing. And it's like a fun thing to do. I had a fun time. I liked season 2 and 3 more than season 1. If you really have nothing else to watch, I'd say I'd watch it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, season 3 as much as season 2. I know it dealt with a lot of COVID issues, and so you can tell that in the series, not just narratively, but through the set. They're all it's kind of like all based in a hotel. But it keeps the same aesthetic of being like in the 50s, like a modern 50s thing. But it also deals with the same premise throughout each season, which there is a doomsday event that occurs and they're trying to avoid it. They have great musical like soundtrack moments that are really great. And I think it's like a fun time. I know a lot of people didn't like season 3. I enjoyed it. I like the family dynamic of it all. And you know what? Also, even if you didn't like season 3, I think some of the actors in there are really stealing the show. If you watch the show, you'll be like, oh yeah, those 2 or 3 actors, they're fantastic. And I'll keep watching the show because of these 3 actors. So Umbrella Academy. But what I would recommend over the Umbrella Academy is The Boys. The Boys just finished. And man, I mean, that is a perfect balance of just extreme bloody action sets with just emotional struggles and satirical commentary. I think they really do a good job of balancing different tones and poking fun of, not only the political atmosphere of what we're dealing with, but also like superhero stuff, like the Zack Snyder, feelings, the Marvel like characters. It pokes fun of all that. And it does a really good job of making you hate the villain. Like at the end of it, you're like, fuck this guy. I really, really hate him. And they do a good job of driving that. And so The Boys, I think that's something that if you're not watching it and you're okay with handling a lot of blood and sexual like shit and content, it's good. It's good. It's fun. A lot of people go through emotional stuff. Boys is fun. The Prime Video is doing that. And I feel like Prime Video is leaning towards this like really aggressive and violent content. They were doing it with Invincible. I don't know if you've seen Invincible.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's kind of the same vein, of like this bloody, like superhero realism. This is The Boys, So if you like Invincible, I recommend watching The Boys. To wrap this up, what I've been into, it hasn't actually been a show. It's been a device. It's been a toy, and it's called Pop Pucks. Okay. If you're on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see it, what I'm holding in my hand. This is a Pop Puck. If you have a pop socket on your phone, there are those things that you can hold your phone a lot better because they're too big nowadays. Pop Socket came out with this fidget toy called a Pop Puck. It's the future of thumb sports, but truly what it is, it's a fidgeter toy. I posted this on my Instagram story. I don't know. I think you guys saw it. If I had to describe it to listeners who are not watching the video, it's the size of like a thumb. And in between this device are two little magnetic, probably 1-inch pucks on this thumb device. And all you really do is you slide them like that. On YouTube, you can see what I'm talking about.
Oh,
but all you're doing, it's a fidgeter tool. And all you do is you slide these two magnetic things and you swap places between them. I don't know if I'm explaining it great, but go on YouTube and Spotify and see it for yourself. So I've been having a ball with this. They have those fidgeter tools where it has like different devices. You can push buttons, you can move things.
Yeah.
I bought a pop socket recently because I wanted a new phone, and it was the Iron Man thing here. What's it called? His little device. They sent me an email about these pop pucks, and I was like, oh man, this is up my alley. So I've just been playing with a pop puck. That's what it sounds like. That's the only bad thing about it, is it's pretty loud.
I like it. But
it
you
is,
showed us that. I felt like, oh, that's right up my alley.
It is so fun. And they also offer booster packs, quote unquote booster packs. So you can, you want the black one, the blue one, the yellow one, or whatever, and it comes with like pre-made versions. But then you can get like different like booster packs. And I was like, oh shit, I want to get like 20 booster packs of these little pucks. Look, they're this size. Okay.
Oh, they come off too, huh?
They come off because they're magnetic. You know what I mean? So they can't fall off. And so I was like, ooh, I want like different designs. I want one with the skull. So I bought a booster pack. I was horribly disappointed. There was only two of them, and I was expecting like 6 of them in this pack. Each pack, they kind of have like a different design, but it's fine. But yeah, no, it's a really good fidgeter tool. I'm driving. I have an hour drive to work, and so I'm just have it in my hand, and I'm just like fumbling with it.
And it keeps you at peace.
It keeps me at peace.
Keeps you centered.
It keeps me centered. I'm having a good time with it. And that's what I've been into. That's the last thing. These pop pucks. So if you're interested in some fidgeting tools, look up Pop Socket and go to Pop Pucks and get something like that. We're not sponsored by Pop Pucks, but
we could be.
We could be. I mean, I don't know, guys. Did we do it? I think that's everything. Right?
Yeah.
Any last comments on? Oh, I will pull this out. I also got go to our Instagram, and you'll see me unboxing this Thor popcorn case. It's not really efficient to put popcorn in, but it is fun.
It looks like you could put popcorn in it.
You could put popcorn.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
But it looks pretty
several
cool.
boxes of chocolate raisins.
I did want to tell you guys this. So I saw Thor on Thursday, but I really wanted this popcorn Mjolnir bucket that came, that was available. So I didn't think I was going to actually get it at 9 a.m. I was like, you know what? By 9 a.m., it's going to get sold out. Did you know what I did? I have AMC A-List. I bought a ticket to Lightyear, and I literally just went into AMC at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I walked in, showed my Lightyear ticket, because it's fine. And then I said, I would like one Mjolnir popcorn bucket. Bought the popcorn bucket and straight up left the theater after that. I didn't even see Lightyear. I just needed a ticket to get in the theater.
Did you have to pay for that ticket?
No, because he's got the A list.
I had the A list. I pay $24 a month for it. I could be, so it literally it means nothing to me to get a ticket to Lightyear. I've already seen 2 or 3 movies this month.
So glad.
What's an extra movie ticket? That means nothing to me. You know what I mean? So it really costs nothing to get into the movie theater. I was able to get this Mjolnir popcorn bucket. Go to our Instagram. You'll be able to see me to unbox it. But hey, if there's nothing else to talk about, you guys have anything else to talk about?
Nope.
Well, you know what? We fucking did it. I'm drunk as hell. And we're doing pretty good here. I'm still watching The Great. I'll update us more when I finish the show. But this has been Punch Drunk Nerd, and it's been me, Luis Gonzalez, and of course
Miguel Sanchez
and Deadpool.
And until next time, you know what it is. Later, Gators.
Later, skaters.
Yay!